Hello. Hey, Eric, did you see the link I put there? How is everybody? Where is everybody? It's dark where I am, obviously. Labor Day weekend. They call it the end of summer. I don't really think that's true. Okay, there's Eric. Here we go. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, okay, cool. Thanks.
What's up?
So, yeah, I don't know why what is Labor Day? Do you even know? Because I'm not sure if I know.
The day off.
The day of labor? Like, it's gotta be something to do with war, I feel like. I don't know, everything's always to do I'm just curious what Labor Day really actually is, because I feel like I don't know. Like, Memorial Day is for memorial of war soldiers, right? Like, that kinda stuff, so, yeah. Hmm. Alright. Anyway, how's it going?
Going good. How was your weekend?
It was good. I mean, it's the Jersey Shore, so there's lots of people around. Um, but it was fun. We had a good weekend here.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself too. 3 days off is nice.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. So let's see. So we've been talking about these timelines and how, the how you doing, Amy? Thanks for being here. We've been talking Eric and I have been talking about these timelines and how, you know, the way that the investigations are done is so different in different cases. And you have to wonder, um, you know, are they behaving are they all behaving similarly? Are they all following the rules? What's going on? Because if you look at the way some of these investigations are done, you don't have to be a detective to know that something looks wrong, right? Like something's obviously wrong, right, Eric?
yes, definitely. Yeah, and I mean, in some places it seems like they're afraid to say that out loud or
Yeah.
question
Yeah.
it.
Which is so strange to me. And okay, let's see, just one second. End of the line. How are you? Hello, Jennifer Henry.
Hello,
It says
Jennifer, and off to the line.
Australia is an 8-hour workday. Not sure about US. Yeah, technically it's, the 8-hour, the 9 to 5, but honestly, it's different. It's gotten different over the years, if you ask me. I mean, we have a lot of people who do contract work now, make their own hours, like Uber drivers, what do they call that? It's something economy. I forget the name of it, but there's a lot of those people aren't doing 9 to 5 jobs, right? Eric, what do you think?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, a lot of people work from home now and kind of make their own schedule.
Hmm.
I think there's not a lot of 9 to 5 work. I mean,
And
even a
then
lot
the
of
one,
businessmen aren't going into the office anymore.
right? And you know what else it is? It's like even the 9 to 5s were never really 9 to 5s because if you look at somebody going to work in stocks or whatever it is, it's always more than 9 to 5. People are always working more than they're getting compensated for. But the other piece of that is the 9 to 5s. What was I going to say about that? Sometimes I lose my train of thought. You know why? Because I look at the chat and then I get distracted. It's my fault. Sorry, guys. But yeah, the 9 to 5 thing, the gig economy, that's what they call it, I think, Eric. The gig
Yeah,
economy, where you have these like this contract piecemeal type work. Um, and so anyway, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I think the only people that truly have a 9 to 5 job anymore are people who work for the government, like a bureaucrat, where like they can't clock in or out outside of certain hours because of the way they get paid. Do you know what I'm saying?
yes, yeah. But I see Labor Day more as the end of summer.
Right, right. So like and it, but I don't think it is though. And that's kind of where I was going with the whole point of this. It's like we get these artificial measures of things. So we're told Labor Day, we all, synonymously think of end of summer cuz school's starting and stuff. But the reality is I don't know what is the actual last day of summer. I'm sorry, I'm
And
just
actually,
curious.
in Florida and stuff, school started like a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure.
What is this about? Like why are they doing this to children? I don't understand.
I think it's the weather down south that's real hot. It gets
Mhm.
so. you know, rather than have kids sitting around in the real heat in Florida, or down south, they just end school early.
Warehouse
So
them. They warehouse them. That's what they do.
yeah.
That's what that's called. I mean, I'm not trying to be a wise ass, but legit, like that's what it's called, warehousing the young. I mean, but yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, I know when I was a kid in California, I had a friend. I didn't live in California. Let me start over. When I was a kid, I was growing up in Pennsylvania, and I had a friend who moved from California, and she told me that they had school year round there, and I thought that was the weirdest thing ever. But to your point, the weather was the reason, and they didn't have as many hours because, they went every day. They didn't have whole summers off and stuff, you know.
Oh wow, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't know if that still goes on or whatever. Okay, so the actual first day of autumn, which would mean the day before is the last day of summer, is September 22nd. So we still have everybody don't be sad. There are still 21 full days of summer left. Okay? So don't let them trick you into thinking that summer's over. All right. Anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's talk
Okay.
about the cases, the Adelson case. Let's talk about the Adelson case. And I just have to say one thing before uh I did not get a long message, Jennifer. Was that in a chat or under a video or something? I'm sorry. I don't think I got it. Okay. All right, go ahead. We're going to talk about Adelson's first, and Eric's going to kind of talk about it a little.
The Adelsons.
Yeah, like what happened? Like the first day,
Well, this is 11
um,
years going on for 11 years now.
that's a long time.
Yes, but I mean the police work in that case is very good. I mean they for 11 years they tracked down. It happened on July 18, 2014, where for anyone that doesn't know the case, it's a murder for hire over a custody battle. Um, uh, Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel were married, and um, they're both college professors at Florida State. But Wendy's family didn't like her living there, and kind of forced was who knows if they forced her or she was pretty miserable living there. So somehow her husband gets after they divorced, the husband gets shot in the driveway, like getting out of his car. So then the neighbor hears it, comes out of his house, sees a Prius driving away. Don't get the plate number, gets the color of the car, and that's
Nobody did or they did? I'm
no,
sorry.
the neighbor did.
The neighbor did.
He
Okay.
didn't get a plate number. He just seen the color of the car drive off. Then he went in the garage and found Dan on the floor, two
Mhm.
shots to the head.
Mhm.
Um, and he called the police and called the ambulance police and all. And Dan Markel lived for like 12 hours after that. But that's where the investigation started with what the tip he had from the car. Because basically,
Right, because the neighbor heard something. Did the neighbor I'm sorry, 'cause
yeah,
I
he
I
heard a gun. He heard something
he
like
heard a
the gunshot,
gunshot.
which he
Okay.
thought was a
And what
gunshot.
time of day was it? What time of
So
day?
about
Because
11 o'clock in the morning.
right. So right away here, well, we have a neighbor who is not going to ignore a gunshot, which let's just be honest. We know that lots of people ignore all kinds of shit in this world. All right. So Dan Markel lives in a neighborhood where they're not going to ignore something that sounds like a gunshot. And so he goes over, he checks, and this neighbor actually checked it out, like had some recollection of what he may have seen. Did you say he had footage too, like video footage?
No, no, he just said it was a Prius. He knew what color. What do you say? He said it looked like a Prius. It was and he knew what color it was,
Okay.
and that's all he had really. So the cops went to I guess they backtracked what Dan Markel did that morning,
Mhm.
and they checked from bus cameras and street cameras. They found this Prius that literally looked like they was following him,
Wow, that's really good work.
and then somehow I guess they put a bolo out. What? And then they got a hit from an ATM machine on it.
Mhm.
But
And
like
how rapidly was this happening? Like within a few days or a few weeks, or
no,
how
I
did?
think it happened within a few weeks or maybe even a few months. They got because they didn't make an arrest for 2 years later. So
Right, and
May
it would make
2000.
sense that, they're as they're pouring through all of these things, it would make sense that it might take some time to get enough to put together to actually arrest
Yeah, like
someone.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it wasn't overnight that they just got the bus footage and then they tracked him from when he went to the gym and then to the house. Like they
So
took him.
them seeing the Prius in the area wasn't enough for them to draw up a probable cause affidavit and search his, father's trash or anything like that?
No, no. Well, they
No.
didn't. They just knew who they had to track down who rented it, like where it came from, and they actually the Prius was sold to some. It was sold to someone like in the process, but the
Mhm.
way they tracked it down was supposedly one of the other guys in the car, the other guy, Luis Rivera, he somehow shot a hole in the car in the floorboard, and it
It
went through
of
the
the
gas line.
Prius?
Yeah, and he went through
What
the
a
gas line, and he
dumbass.
had to fix,
What a
and he had to
fucking
fix the gas line.
what
Yeah,
That's like a that's like a scene out of Pulp Fiction. They go over the
yes,
bump.
exactly.
"Oops,
Yeah,
sorry," and he blows his brains out. It's like, "Holy shit,
I know
man,
you
like,
can't make
get a
this
hold
shit
of
up.
yourself." Yeah, get a hold of yourself, dude, like, come on. You're
But
committing a major crime here. You're gonna just, like, accidentally shoot into the floorboard of your getaway vehicle? What the fuck?
yeah, so somehow within 2 years, the car was sold somewhere, and they tracked it down, and it was painted also the car, but it wasn't like sold to someone. Somehow they painted it, but
Uh-huh.
inside the doors they don't paint,
Mhm.
I guess, so they could see
Mhm.
the original color that way.
Mhm. Oh, okay.
And then they
Well,
actually,
also with the VIN number, you should be able to see the original color. Do
yeah,
you know what I'm
you're
saying?
exactly right with that too.
Yeah. Mhm.
So then they actually went to the gas line to see if the bullet, like they could see that the gas line was repaired because the bullet
Mhm.
to actually say these are the two guys that rented the car.
Mhm.
So and that's how they got them. They arrested them.
Mhm.
Um,
And that took
and
them about 2 years, you said,
so yeah,
right? And
two
honestly,
thousand.
like, to be honest, that I think that makes sense because, the amount of, leads they had to follow and they probably took time to get an actual warrant for actual things that were pertinent to their I mean, this is probably something that's normal. It takes a couple years to really right?
Yeah, and they figured it was somehow like I mean I guess during that time they're saying who's the ex-wife, and then they're trying to they're tying it to the Addisons, but they got nothing really.
Mhm.
So when they arrest these two guys, um, uh, what's his name? Charlie Adelson's girlfriend,
Mhm.
um, was has two kids with the first guy they arrested, Garcia, Sigfredo Garcia.
Right.
So now they've had the girlfriend is going out with Charlie, but she's got two kids with this guy. So
Now, how
that's
did
their
they realize she was involved? Like, how did they catch that? Do you know?
they just seen that she was had two kids with him, I think.
Oh, okay, like, once they arrested him, they were like, "Oh,
Yes.
they're
Then they
looking
look,
into him," and they find out. Okay, I understand. Got it, got
and
it.
then the other guy, he was when they went to arrest him, he was in jail already for a federal crime. The guy who
Oh,
was like the driver, I guess. He didn't do the
yes.
shooting, but he was the driver.
Uh-huh.
So and then he said, I want to stay in federal custody. I'll tell you whatever you want to know.
Oh,
So
okay,
then
there you
he
go.
threw Catherine, which was Charlie's
Baby
girlfriend.
mama?
Yeah, baby, the baby mama. So he basically said she set it up. He knows nothing. She set it up. It was her doing. So they
Wait, wait,
put
who is setting it up?
Catherine set it up. Like she said, Charlie asked her if you get anybody who could hurt people or something
Right,
like
right,
that,
right, right, yep,
and
and
then
she said she decided, "Okay, it's obvious she's obviously the connection, right? I'm sure as soon as the police saw that nexus, they were like, "Oh my god, this is worse than we thought. Like, what's going on here?" You know?
but I mean when they got even though they had those three, they didn't give up. They didn't say okay, we got
Exactly.
we got the guy. That's it. Like kind of like they do in
Right,
Idaho.
yeah, we got the person who killed him. It doesn't matter why. We never know why. We're not gonna ask why because they lie, you know?
Yeah.
Like Bill Thompson's bullshit. No, they
So they
actually were like, "Yeah, there's something a lot more going on here."
yeah. So that's when they so whatever they heard the other guy had a different trial, Rivera, because he was doing like giving them information. So
Mhm.
he wound up getting 19 years, but the guy Garcia got 20 years, and then Catherine, the one who set it up,
Mhm.
She had a mistrial in her first trial,
Mhm.
so she
Okay.
got tried again, and in the second trial, she like admitted that she set it up for Charlie and all this stuff. So she like completely just lied the first time, and
I think I've seen bits and pieces of the trials, the past trials. I remember actually, I think it was this time around this time last year or so that Charlie Adelson was in trial, right? Because I feel
yep.
like I was listening to that woman testify about him, and yeah, what a crazy, I think she really didn't think she was going to get in trouble. Like, oh, I didn't have anything to do with it. I just let them know, hey, you want someone killed, you can talk to this guy. It's like, yo, girl, like that it's not good. Like,
And also in their interview, and like they interviewed Wendy's boyfriends, and one of them was just like she like kind of seemed like she set him up.
Jeff,
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah, she's like
I that man Jeff, let me just say, poor Jeff. Okay. Jeff has that look of torment on his soul and his face. It only comes from a man who has been with a Jezebel. Okay. Let's just put the facts out there. When you are with a woman like Wendy Adelson, a Jezebel like that, she fucks you up so bad. You look like Jeff the rest of your life. Do you see this guy's
yeah.
face?
Well, you
He's
got to see
so
his
perplexed and
interviews.
in pain, this guy. He can't.
He said a lot about her too, and when like he had a 2 hour interview, he
Yeah.
said she's like crazy, she's a drunk.
But
She had
yet
a lot of
Jeff is still infatuated with, I'm gonna tell you right now, Jeff, when I was listening to him, what he said about her, and I heard it, and he was like, basically, he's the one who cracked the case in a way. He's like, "Yeah, let me explain, like, what this lady said and what she said about her brother." Not that he cracked the case, but, yeah, he let it all out. He clearly thought a lot about it and was tormented by the fact that this was, like, who he was sleeping with and in love with, and how she really pulled the wool over his eyes. I think he was just very upset with himself that I think he'll forever be haunted by that. That's
yeah.
my
He said that. He
opinion.
said he was under her spell.
Yeah, that's a Jezebel. That's what a
Yeah.
Jezebel does. If any guy on here or anyone, if you ever a Jezebel, that's what Jezebels do. They're very dangerous. They have
Toxic.
there are men that are like the men. I don't know what the equivalent of a male, but Jezebel have male equivalents. I mean, there are men that destroy women like that too.
He's a
But
narcissist.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. But I'm trying to think of an archetype. But
uh,
Wendy Adelson, I mean, she's something else. She fooled me. She completely fooled me the first day or so. I was like, oh yeah, like I could see plausible deniability. But then the more I watched her, I'm like, no, she definitely knew. And the weirdest part to me about Wendy Adelson, and I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt your timeline because we should go on with it. But the
sorry.
weirdest thing that freaks me out about Wendy Adelson is like, it's like I still, because I am one of these people that always try to like, in some ways too naive. I still want to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, okay, so she did know before, but she's really powerless over the situation because her brother's a bully and da da da. But then I'm like, but no, I'm falling right into that trap that she would want me to think. Right? Is that what's happening? You know what I mean? She's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
mind fuck, Wendy Adelson. She's a real mind fuck, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm a woman, so I can only understand a man because she's attractive.
She
So
was she was a little, she was kind of smart though. She's not on the tapes. They have like when this goes on, they do the wiretapping, and
mhm.
she's not on the tapes. She's not
Yeah.
didn't converse with anybody. So, but
The
she did
most you
the
can
thing
say
that makes her
about
look
her.
guilty. She drove her car,
Yes.
but right
And
by the crime scene, like,
and turned away
and it was
turned away.
blocked off, and a cop actually seen her. He knew her.
Mhm,
He seen her turn
mhm.
around, and like,
I agree, but I don't think that's enough for guilt. Like, that wouldn't be, and the only other thing that I would say that I think that I've seen anyway is, and you tell me what you think, is, she definitely was behaving differently right before the murders. Like, she was having these, like, complete meltdowns, the whole TV situation.
yeah,
There's a lot of
well,
implications there. The way she almost tried to set Jeff up in
yeah,
some ways.
that's what I was gonna say. With the way she tried to set Jeff up, like if you don't know it, you don't, you're breaking up with this guy. Why do you care when he's coming back or when he's leaving and what route he's taking? Like that's
It was really brutal. What was really brutal about it was the way he said that when he talked about how, like, he really thought they were on the outs, and then all of a sudden she was into him again, and that
yeah,
when they were being intimate, she was just putting on this extra act like that he'd never even seen before. And that's where I really started to think, Oh, Wendy Adelson, you are a Jezebel. You know exactly what the fuck you're doing to this guy. This is brutal. Like that's unforgivable. I'm sorry.
She was dating someone else at the same time too, he said.
He was?
No, she was.
Oh, yeah, she was very promiscuous.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was reading that people like Wendy Adelson, who I don't wanna diagnose her, but I think she's an axis 2, you'd call it, on the psychiatric realm, like borderline maybe. But regardless, they tend to change their sexuality after when they're grieving, either, becoming like attracted to the different sex or becoming very promiscuous if they weren't before, or becoming extra prudent if they were promiscuous before. It's just something they do. So it's kind of
Oh wow.
interesting.
Yeah, he said that about her. And but
Yeah.
okay, so where was I at? Oh, so after they get or Catherine, they set this thing called a bump up where they which is this is what we're talking about the police work, right? That's the main
Hmm.
topic, Uh
Hmm.
so they the mother's walking down the street because if oh did I see it? Oh no, okay. I got I got ahead of myself.
It's okay. Okay.
Okay, so now they're looking at Charlie, right?
Hmm.
Because that's his girlfriend, he's the brother, and so this is where they do the bump. They set the mother up like they give her walk by and give her a note and just hand it to her in the street like I don't know, and it says FBI doing this. So now
Okay.
the FBI is involved because they think conspiracy,
Hmm.
hitman, rich families, they get all involved.
Hmm.
And so the note says it's like it's from someone like one of the Latin kings, like you paid everybody else, but you didn't take care of my brother. He's in jail. We need $5,000.
Wow. Okay.
So then, so this is Donna Adelson, the mother.
Imagine Wendy when she got that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So she so then she's all
I'm sorry,
weirded out.
Donna. Donna. I'm sorry, not
Yeah,
Wendy.
Donna.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an older woman. She's probably like I think she's 72 now. So this is like 5 years, 6 years ago. So
She has this guy coming up to her saying, like, "Yo, you
yeah.
owe us money. We're gonna break your legs." No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, kind of.
So she calls Charlie and says, someone handed me a note, and then so now they got him wiretapped, and they're listening to implicate her and Charlie into this now. So this is like just the police work. They're not. They got 3 people already, and now they're still going. And this is like 5 years later. So
Wow.
they're we're in like uh, so this is like 2018, I think they start this thing with the wiretap, and they're
Mhm.
going after Charlie.
Mhm.
So I mean, the mother's trying to be all code, and Charlie's like, "What do you mean?" And he's all loud and like saying like totally talking like nothing happened, and the mother's like, "What are you talking about? We'll go to the
'Cause
police and
Charlie's
this and
an
that."
asshole, right? Like,
Yeah,
let's just
yeah,
say it. The
yeah.
death. Do you know what?
He's a pompous prick.
So I heard, I don't remember who told me this, but it was in college. They said that one of the professors, he wrote on the board, he said the definition of an asshole was someone who lacks insight. And I think it's the best way to describe an asshole. Because when you lack insight into yourself, like you just have no checks or balances. And that's what Charlie is to me.
Yeah, he
Sorry, go
thinks the
on.
world revolves around him. He
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
care about it. I even heard a lot of worse stuff that I won't even bring up about him.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy Jeff said some things about him, like, and he was just open, like he would openly just act like an asshole.
Yeah, he
Like
he
said, he
is the
said,
kind of asshole. I mean, the way he was so callous about this murder, the way he discussed it, all of it. I mean, he is the kind of person like he's an actual cockroach. Like he's a piece of shit. And I don't like to use that term again about people, but like he is an enemy. Like you don't want to be in a dark alley with that guy. He's evil.
he
That's the
literally
way I
told
look
his
at him.
sister, like he literally told his sister, "I got you a TV because it was too much to hire a hitman." Like he made jokes about this before it even happened. Like,
Yes. And I keep I'll have to do I'm just gonna say it because I already stepped in it. I'm gonna have to do a video, um, and it's about somebody that I was engaged to that I think is a sociopath. And there's so many reasons why, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I'm sorry.
that's
It's
it.
just I keep getting these things and it's freaking me out. But sorry about that, Eric. Go on.
Okay, okay. So, Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So they set this up, and they got Charlie on the phone, and then um, so after Donna calls Charlie, Charlie calls Catherine. She's the middle, like, and she's like, oh, like to asking her, who could this be? Is this someone in jail? Like, you got to know who it is. She's like, and she's like, oh, I don't know. But they got this all on tape, so like now it looks like Charlie's like talking like he didn't do it, but he's covering his ass, like like who's doing this, like
Right.
so. So eventually they get enough info from him talking on the phone to arrest him,
Mm-hmm.
and they arrest him, and whatever, he has a trial last year. Like, they arrested him in, I think, 2022. He had a trial in 2024, and he was convicted 20 20 to life for conspiracy to murder.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I even think they called it murder. Actually, um, so then um, they go after the mother and they arrest her, but she's actually tries to because of the wiretaps. They hear that she's like fleeing the country, so they actually arrest her in the airport. She was going to Vietnam because they don't have extradition.
That was crazy. That I remember. That's what I think introduced me to this case. I didn't really know anything about Charlie Adelson or anything until the mother got arrested, and then I think maybe that's what a lot of people started to look at it. I don't know, but anyway.
So now the mother's on trial, and I think they're going to go after Wendy after they do this. But the whole point of this is that how the police work was relentless. They just kept. They got one. They had made a few arrests. They weren't happy with
Mhm,
that. They want to get the whole thing down. You know what
mhm,
I mean?
mhm. Yep.
Nobody's above.
They
Nobody's
took
above
their
the law. The
time. They
FBI
went
was
through all
involved.
the evidence. They weren't scratching people off. They were keeping their minds open to the possibilities, right?
There were no cameras they couldn't see, or no license plate numbers. Like, that was like, they knew the car wasn't a
Right.
false. Fucking like, you know,
Right, like, I would like what would be interesting is to see the probable cause affidavit for let me see if I can find that, hold on. Like, a probable cause affidavit for, say, somebody like Charlie Adelson, right? Because 'Cause they're always saying, because we're gonna talk about the Idaho case next and kinda contrast it, but they're always saying, like, with the Idaho case, like, "Oh, PCAs, they don't really, mean anything." There's one camp that says, like, "Oh, that's just, there's a lot more," and then there's other camp that says, like, no, like the PCA is the best they have. That's why they put it there. And so there's not much. So what do you think about that?
yeah, exactly. I think exactly like that. But also about this is, they seen, oh, this is looks like maybe a murder for hire, but they went to the root, like who would do this, and they knew the Adelsons were involved right off. Like, it was like they seemed like it was probably the Adelsons, like, right. They knew
Mm-hmm.
that from the get go, but they had to prove
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's like just something with the Idaho case. Like, these detectives can't see that this is probably a drug case, and two of the um two of the victims' parents are in jail. Like, it just like I just that's what, like, FBI, anybody should pick that up, and like it's never talked
Right.
about.
And so that leads to the next point, which is then of course they picked it up, right?
Yeah.
Like there nobody is that we don't know more about we haven't pieced together something that the FBI hasn't pieced together, right? Like, do you agree with that?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
like saying the FBI in Florida isn't better than the FBI in Idaho. The FBI is the FBI. They're all qualified with. They all go through the same tests, and like, you know what I
But
mean.
also
Like,
just like common sense, right, Eric? I
yeah,
mean, like that's
exactly.
the thing, like I think which is really nice. That's one of the reasons why I really like YouTube is because, like you can be an expert in one thing or another, but you can talk about something else and you can voice your opinion. And if it's credible, people will listen. You don't need a degree to have like common sense about some of this stuff. If you have experience, to me, it's worth way more than a degree in almost anything. So
And the conversation isn't if Koberger did it or not. That's not. We're not even talking about anything like
yeah,
that. We're
that's
talking
not
about
what
the
I'm
police
talking
work.
about. Yeah,
Yeah, we're talking about the
exactly.
police, the detective work, and how it was good in the Adelson case was real good, and here it seems like it's wasn't good at all. They didn't know what they were doing.
Exactly. I was just looking to see if I can find his probable cause affidavit, but I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It's just, it would be interesting though. All right, let me just answer this and then, yes, absolutely. All right, so let's see. Hold on one second. Whoops, sorry. And I just want to go back to my regular thing. All right. So let's just talk about how different the Moscow, Idaho case was, right? And just give me 1 second. So it happened on November 13th, right? And when did you find out? Do you remember where you were or anything like that,
Yeah,
Eric?
actually, it was on the front page of the Post. That picture with the six of them. I
Uh huh.
think that's
Yep.
when I seen that, and I was like, I seen it was quadruple, so I started reading it. And then I went like on YouTube and like I followed it from that day. So maybe probably I'm gonna probably say Monday or Tuesday after it happened. Probably like
Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember, so I just remember hearing about it somewhere around like the first day or 2, and also I remember I definitely heard it the first day. You know why? Because I was just like, when are they coming out with a press release? Because I kept saying, why do we not know what's going on? Like, everyone was speculating what could have happened, but no one said anything because they didn't even have a press release until, let's see, when was their actual first press conference? I should say, not press release.
six
It was
17th maybe.
November 16th, actually. November 16th.
Well, that's why I
So
went to YouTube because I couldn't like I seen it one day it was in the newspaper and then I live in New York so they're not too they just cover it one day it's super tragedy it's crazy but then they kind of lay off it so that's why I went to YouTube and online to see if I could find out more about it and then there was a
mhm.
lot more coming out.
Yeah, a lot of people, there was a lot of stuff, right? So, but in terms of this case, right? And it's just one of those things that I think there's one huge thing that already happened, which has to do with the investigation and the media, which is November 13th, they're announcing these deaths, but we don't hear any official news from the police department for 3 full days. That's a lot of time for speculation to rise and increase, and that definitely caused this case to become more and more interesting to a lot of people that otherwise may not have followed it as much. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, it was intriguing in the beginning because they didn't catch anyone for 7 8 weeks and you're like I was like how did they not get
Well,
anyone,
that's
you
the
know what I
thing,
mean?
right? So they're like, so here they are. They have this to like start off the bat, right? Let's just talk about the investigation. So on the 13th, they get a phone call that there's someone unconscious in the house, and they show up, and right off the bat we can see, just because we now see the police cam I'm going by, we don't have to look at the reports, that's a whole other story, but look at the police cam, that's not going to change. She
Yeah.
Whatever Dylan said at that time is what she's gonna remember the most, or whatever. That's it. Like, no matter how many times you ask her again, I don't believe, in my opinion, you're gonna get anything more out of her other than stories that she's making up in her head to make you feel better. That's how What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I mean, in the police work, they had like undercover cops driving around. It seemed like it was a busy night. There were cops picking up kids on the street and other place. Like, I think there was like a lot of people around, like that should have seen something, or like
That
if there
didn't.
were all these
Right.
moving parts that did it.
Yeah. So that's the thing, right? So, like, right off the bat, they're showing up 8 hours later to this murder scene. Okay. And they're treating and I'm going to call them kids because that's how they treat them. They treat them like kids. They're asking them if they need blankies and water. They're letting them huddle together and have little sob sessions and discuss what happened. These are all suspects.
Yeah,
Hello. What are you doing? I was so disgusted when I saw that. And I don't know if I'd love there's got to be, I bet you, Idaho off the cuff or whatever those detectives we follow from New
yeah,
York,
yeah,
they had to tear that apart because, and here's the thing, I'm just going by common sense, right? Like, I'm not a detective, but I know better than that. All of those people are suspects. It's like you need to get them away from each other and away from the scene, and not be asking them if they need a blanket. They don't have any blood on them. There's 4 dead people in the house. That just pissed me off. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
I mean, and a lot of those cop people, they don't want to go say things bad about cops too. It's like a
Yeah, but the
loyalty. Like,
guys, the NYP, do you know who I'm talking about, though?
yeah,
Those
yeah, I know
guys.
that guy. That guy will. Some
He
will, but I
will.
mean, a lot of them.
Yeah, they won't.
That's what,
Yeah, they won't.
and I.
Yeah.
That's why I think like they had the Idaho State Police, Moscow Police, and the FBI, And there was supposed to be like 60 FBI agents within that area at the time this happens for
Well,
some
yeah, what
reason.
right, like, so starting back with what happened, right? So they get this 911 call, which is sounds staged. I'm just it's staged, okay? Whatever they're saying or whatever. Then they show up, and when they show up, they see these kids all standing outside. Very bizarre scene. Hunter, if you look at Hunter, he has the knife outside with him and goes inside and then decides to like put it upstairs right in front of the detective, and like nothing, he should have been put under arrest immediately for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm
Well, yeah,
saying?
I agree with you 100%. Yeah.
Like
He actually
I
gets his blood on the table. He was never
right, like
like,
I'm looking at that and I'm saying like I'm no detective, but this kid just came from outside of the crime scene with a fucking knife and then brought it in and then gave you some what? It just makes me so angry, and then I'm just like, "You know what? If I'm getting angry, it's because it's designed to make me angry." And I realize it's just it's agitation propaganda. It's so incredibly ridiculous. It just proves there's something obviously wrong here. I refuse to abandon common sense. I refuse to. Everybody else can ignore it. I'm not talking about people listening to us, but I'm talking about in general. It's like this complicity to like let people lie and get away with it. I'm just done doing that. Do you know what I mean, Eric?
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I mean, that cry, I would have had that whole block shut down. And
Yeah. We're not detectives. And what would you this okay, I'm gonna tell you what I would have done, Eric. Because we already know they didn't do what they should have done. But if that was me, and I'm not even trained or anything, I would show up. I would, and I have backup or whatever, I would make sure that all of the witnesses were told to, stay away from each other. They'd have to stay back from each other. Okay, I think they should just take them back to the station. Just take them back to the station. Somebody needs to take them back to the station. Okay, and then I'm going to put tape around. I'm going to go inside and videotape. But they should have just been cleared. They shouldn't have been allowed to sit there and walk and talk amongst each other and look around. What do you think?
yeah, yeah, no, they should have been separated. They should have had more people there at first. There was like 3 or 4 people there too. Like, and then like,
Mhm.
that's a, as soon as you say quadruple homicide, I mean, everyone who was a cop that was in within 15, 20 miles should have been there.
Mhm.
Like gathering people, just, you know what I mean? That's,
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not even about being properly trained, which is what they always fall back on. Oh, we just need to train them more. No, no, it's about common sense. And here's the thing too. I just want to say, like, I heard someone say, look, they were young cops, they were shell shocked. And I have all the empathy in the world for that. I do. I honestly do. And I believe some of that reaction is that. Okay. And that's fine. But, you know, now that it's over and you're looking at what happened, you can arrest Hunter Johnson for taking a knife into the crime scene. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah,
I can forgive you for fucking up because like you're young or you're new or whatever, but I can't forgive you when you continue to lie and ignore the evidence in front of you. I can't, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. If I look at it, if I was a young cop, I mean, I don't, like, not that you want anything like that, but if you're put on a scene like that, I would take it the other way. I'd be everything, try and do everything like perfect, and I'd be into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I
this
know.
is the
Me
real
too.
deal.
All of us listening to this right now would be because we're all like super. This is like something we really care about.
Yeah,
And it's something that we care about, and it gives us energy, and that's like what people should be doing, like instead of being forced to do other things that they don't like,
yeah.
for
Like, you didn't
money or
become a
whatever.
cop to write tickets to kids underage drinking, right? You don't become a cop for that
Well,
reason.
that's the problem, and that's what they force them to do to get money for the town, and that's completely unconstitutional, legal, if you ask me. Any kind of ticket like that, you're not harming anyone. You get a speeding ticket. To me, it's unconstitutional. That's a different story. Or even like going around these cops on the beat, going around giving kids loitering tickets. That's the worst thing you can do. I think, in other words, why don't you have them go around and try to mentor these kids instead of
I got a
giving them
question
tickets they
for you.
can't pay?
For in the medical field,
Mhm.
if an ambulance of people pull up, they send them away like that?
Okay, so I love this question because um the answer to that is I've never seen it. Personally, it doesn't mean it can't happen. I don't know of it ever except one other case, and you might have remembered this case if you think about it, and that case happened in Connecticut.
What one's that? Doulos?
I'm not gonna say the name because it's like one of those Beetlejuice kind of things. You just don't want to
Okay.
say it 3 times because then something happens.
Okay.
But it's involved with shooting, kids got shot and killed, like a bunch of them.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, they had ambulances show up there, and none of them were needed. They were told they weren't
Okay,
needed
I got you.
at
I know which
all.
one. Yeah.
Okay? Now, that's fucking weird, and there's a lot of other things I could go on for hours about that, but I'm not gonna do that, okay? That's an old obsession of mine. But the point I'm trying to make is and I lived in that area at that time too, so I there's some other things that I know, like, nothing that would, cause any problems for anybody, but it's just things that I'm aware of just from being in that area. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
there's a reason why I even looked at it to begin with, but no, none of them were allowed to go in. Not one. Weird,
Yeah,
right?
that's what I find out. Like they just send them away.
Like, I get it that there is a point where someone is dead beyond being, brought back. Like, you can't do anything for them. You can't, there's nothing, right? Like, if someone was decapitated, for example, nobody's going to do CPR on that person. Nobody expects you to. That's ridiculous, right?
yes.
But, like, outside of that, like, I don't know what they look like, okay? If they were, like, completely obviously dead, I do foresee a world in which, like, they might tell them, "Don't go in," just to not add to their trauma. Do you know what I'm saying? If it was
Yes.
100% positive these 4 people are dead, there's no reason to send them in there and add to their trauma. Um, but, and especially knowing it was 8 hours before, I don't know. So, like, in some ways it is believable, I have to be honest, but
Okay. No, it's just.
does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes total sense. Yeah. Yeah. Like, why would you cause more trauma on other people if it's they can't do anything? I got you.
Yeah. I'm just getting some stuff from the chat that no, the ambulance and fire department are supposed to show up. Yeah. As an officer, you would want more qualified eyes on the scene. That makes sense. I thought they told the ambulance people don't even come, no one. Yeah, that's what we're kind of talking about, Jennifer. And you might be right. I don't know if there was no ambulance there or they told them not to come, but we're both understanding the same, which is no EMS was inside
There's
of
a
that.
group of people that walk up and they look like they're sent away in in the video,
Yeah.
and they kind of look like EMTs of some sort. Like,
Yeah.
and it looks like they tell them no, it's no use. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know what there's gotta be some kind of hold on, I just love her. Oh, and here we go. I was about to say this, Jennifer. I was about to say there's gotta be some kind of protocol, right? There's some kind of protocol for this shit because they need to do the right thing all the time. So if the protocol says you're called to a scene, you must go in no matter what, then you go in no matter what. Or if the protocol says you go to the scene, the officer tells you you don't need to go, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you're right. It's got to be a protocol. So whatever the protocol is, did they follow it? I don't know. I have a feeling not to, that they didn't, right? Because
I
I
don't
don't,
think they knew it.
yeah, exactly. Yo, Tex Max Facts Thunderclap, my favorite name in here. What up? So yeah, so okay, so we have that, right? So we've got major shenanigans already happening within the first like 15-20 minutes of this crime scene. We've got a knife being brought back into the house. We've got Dylan talking to Jack, the guy, he was there, and how Kaylee ran down. Basically, she's giving conflicting reports, and he's not pushing her further, right? Like, he's not asking her the next question that anybody would ask with common sense, right?
Yeah, and he's doing it in front of people too. Like,
Yeah, exactly. So everybody can hear what she's saying. Everybody is listening. And I don't know if you caught this, but it's something that bothered me when I was watching it. Why does it look like everybody's covering their face?
uh, I think there could be.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, I did. I was
They're like all
thinking.
like this. They're all doing this. They're doing this kind of stuff like this, or this.
I was thinking because maybe they thought they didn't catch anybody. So if somebody's on sees them on the video that they're talking to the police, maybe they could go after them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's still a killer out there, and they could
There's
be
a threat.
nervous. That was what my thing was about them
Okay,
having their
fair,
Facebook.
but hear me out on this. In reality, in real communities where people really do get shot for talking, they don't go like this. They just don't fucking talk on cat.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like they're, but then again, like this is the police, so I don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. It's just one of those things. Oh,
and
Jennifer
like,
Henry saying because they had injuries. Okay.
well, maybe like I think like Dylan might have knew who did it. Then like,
Dylan's starting to look real sketchy, but all right, let me just go through a few more of the investigative kind of things with this case, and then we can talk some more about other stuff, okay? Uh but yeah, so we know they show up. They're not separating the witnesses. They're more or less catering to the witnesses, treating them like little children, little girls, very irritating to me. Because you know why it bothered me the most? Because that was like the biggest to me, the way they treated that group of students was the biggest display of sexism and racism almost, like in a way. I don't know other way to say it. Because if those kids were any other color or race, like any other color, and if those two girls were men, any race, white men or any other, or they were of a different color, they wouldn't. I don't think they would have been treated like that whatsoever. In fact, I know they wouldn't. What do you say, Eric?
I said they definitely wouldn't, and I don't think in Idaho they wouldn't. Definitely, if they were different color, they wouldn't be
It-
treated like
right. If
that.
they were two young black women and black girls in that thing, I
Yeah,
do not believe for 1 second that this is how it would have rolled for them. They would have been taken down and booked separately, or who you know what I'm saying? Don't
yep,
you
yeah,
see that?
definitely.
Yeah. I'm not saying obviously that's the like not what should happen, but I'm just saying that's why it pisses me off because here's the thing. I think that they all should have been treated the way, as a suspect and not catered to the way they were catered to. That was definitely pretty girl privilege. And they just played it up and it's very annoying. It makes me really upset actually.
And they were like, yeah, like I don't know. If you got a quadruple murder, you got to have a little force and not be nice. I don't think you got to be nice in the beginning. You got to scare people. You got to get people to talk. You can't be all Mr. Nice Guy. Like I think you got to,
They just
you
did
know,
not take control of the scene. And again, I
you got
know
to
part
threaten
of it.
people. Like
Yeah, they were
you're
young.
probably
They
the
were
number one
young.
suspect right now. You two girls are probably the number one suspects right now. You're in the house. You're alive, and
And you
just
took
I
8
think you
hours
take
to
things like that.
call? Yeah,
Yeah,
like, what the fuck? So, yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I'm sorry, like and people say, and I even said after I saw her when she talked at um, the hearing, when she gave her speech, like she made me feel bad. Like, I'm like, God, like, I feel bad. She's been through a lot. But then I'm like, I am easily convinced sometimes by emotional ploys like that. So I don't know if she really is stressed out and traumatized or if she's just acting. You know what I'm saying? I
but
don't know. It's
if you are
hard.
involved, you're going to be emotional too. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
right.
you're lying. You're trying to change your story. You're thinking that you're a wreck. You're involved in something, or someone did something that's terrible, and you just don't know. So you're going to be a
Eric,
wreck either
that is
way.
such a good point. No, that was such a good point. You know why? You're right. Because she is upset, but it's kind of like when they always say, I can tell you someone's lying. I can't tell you why they're lying. You know what I mean? Like that kind
Yeah,
of thing. Like somebody might be lying about where they were because they're planning a surprise party versus they're lying because they're plotting revenge or whatever it is, right?
yeah,
So like you don't know the intent behind it. So that's kind of what you're going with, I think,
yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
mean, like the whole 8 hour thing too. That could be like they might have thought, why didn't we call earlier? Like, like it just dawned on them. Like,
Well, there's a lot of people who are feeling like they weren't even there, like they weren't even in there, which I don't understand that either. Because then why even have them talk? Why even get them involved?
yeah,
Um, I just have so many questions. Yeah, I agree. End of the line says she's also relieved because it's the end as far as she's concerned. So that makes sense. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Um, but I just have a lot of questions. Um, yeah, she said the lights were on too. I mean, they botched the investigation from the jump. Like it was like the Karen Reed trial, the way that they did it. Everybody can sit together, talk together, change their story 100 different times. You're catering to these people because they're college students or they have affiliations, whether it's political or government or something. It's positive that they do. Let's be
But
honest.
you know what's weird about what that case went to trial. It ended before this case, and the police got exploited big time.
Which one are you talking about?
The Karen Reed case.
Oh, yeah, and that case did go to trial, and you're right, you're absolutely right, and that's a whole other, like, phenomenon, the way that case actually was investigated in a similar way to this, in some ways even more obvious if you followed the shattered glass. I mean, knowing now that they full well were dumping that on there,
Yeah,
on the lawn
and
days
and just
after.
looking at it, say they see the way that case ended, because the way when that case ended, I don't know, he probably plead maybe a month later.
Uh-huh.
Like they like watch the way that went out, and then everyone, the police and everyone sees like, wow, wait, this that if anything goes down, like they throw the police under the bus in that one, like they were wrong. We could get in big trouble. We got to
Mhm.
figure something out. Like and I think that could be a reason for like them offering a plea or get like
The
or
defense,
this
you mean, or
accept.
the
That's a reason for
prosecution?
accepting the plea.
Accepting the plea. Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah, accepting the yeah, I think that the prosecution was more than happy to take that plea. I think they were more than fucking happy. They were so happy that they didn't even ask for anything
yeah,
other than no death penalty. They were so happy they didn't even make him tell them where the knife was, which is what we all want to know and honestly need to know to believe that he's the killer. If he's not gonna give me the knife, Eric, I don't believe he did it. So prove
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Prove
But
it,
they didn't even
Koberger.
ask. That's another thing. Like yeah, and I think that there'll be probably police taking the stand in that. Um, would have been taking a stand in that case, and they could have been exploited. If Ann Taylor knows what she's doing, because the police work was bad.
Well, here's my question. This is really serious. Think about it. Have you heard this? Have you seen this? Does anybody know? Is there cross contamination between the victims? The only way it's possible if there's one perpetrator and one weapon is that the first blood got into the second, those two got into the third, those three got into the fourth. Has to be. And if it doesn't exist in the wounds, he didn't do it. It's not one perp, one weapon, or one perp. Yeah, one weapon. What do you think about that,
No,
Eric?
I think that you're 100% right, and I think you can't hide that.
You can't.
Like,
So do we have that evidence? Did they test for it? Does anybody
it's,
know?
no, they didn't. There's no word about that. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the stuff that there's no follow up on any of those 500 billion pages they put out.
Mhm.
There were one interview, and it seems like that's it. No follow up.
Mhm. Right. How about I like how when they want I like how when they're in the middle of an investigation and then they get this Koberger tip somehow they like like somehow they point him to pull it together that it's him and they completely drop all the other leads after that. Did you notice that?
Exactly.
Just like complete abandonment of all the other shit. And some of those leads were pretty interesting. I'm sure many of us thought that we're reading into those. And so for them to abandon all of that, like that shows you right there the confirmation bias that existed because what was that lead that made them abandon everything else?
Yeah, and and then they started working backwards.
Yeah,
Just that
they
we got one
admitted it.
lead, because of the college probably pressuring them. This thing's got to go away. We're going to lose enrollment, and then you're going to lose money, and
Mhm. And we might have to expose that you've been using our students as informants for your little drug busts.
yeah,
And that might look really bad for your department, and the university isn't gonna take any responsibility for that because the university had one of those programs, I'm not saying it supported, informants, but it did have a program, Neeks Peaks brought it to our attention, where they had young kids that wanted to go into law profession, did internships and shit. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. Yep.
So I remember looking at a picture like that, and one of the women in the picture looked a lot like a woman who Pop talks about a lot that's involved in the case. Not the Molly one, but the other one. I'm not being coy, I just don't remember her name
Farley.
anymore. Uh, what was her first name though?
Uh, I'm not sure what her first name is,
Yeah,
but
but
I
whatever
think
her
it's that guy Farley's wife or something.
yeah, or what Tassie or Rhodes or I don't remember. Whatever her name was, I saw someone who looked like a younger version of her. I did like a face analysis of it, and she was like uh
Are you talking
she
about
looked like
Corey Hatrock?
no, Corey Hatrock is Xana's
No, Maddie's father's
Maddie's.
wife or girlfriend or
Yeah,
whatever.
allegedly. She was there, by the way. Did you see her? She was there
Was
at the
she?
yeah, I saw her. She was there at the hearing.
She's
Mhm.
out of prison. See that?
Yep, I caught the only reason I know is because I caught her in a thumbnail. Somebody had a thumbnail up of it was Maddie's family or something, and like right in that little group, there was I saw Corey Hatrock.
Yeah,
And I was like,
I thought
that's interesting. They didn't
she.
mention her ever as someone who could have any stake in this, but
I read that she was friends with Zana's mother.
she
That
was.
that was a
You might have
connection.
heard
I
me
heard they
say
had a
it.
connection.
They definitely had a connection. I definitely said that or posted it or whatever, or you read it somewhere else. But I know that because I saw the Facebook, they were Facebook friends, and she called her a sexy bitch or something like that. I
Oh,
forget now.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I. That's it was probably from you that I heard that then.
It could have been from other people. I'm not the only one that saw it. I just, I just remember it. But I don't know. It's like if you really get into the whole Manson theory of what happened, if you really understand that Manson was an MK Ultra victim, I'm not saying he didn't murder people. I'm just saying that he was a victim of the government of their MK Ultra program. And if you're of the belief, like I am, that these programs still exist just by other names and more covertly, then it's not hard to imagine that Brian Koberger is some type of victim to some type of programming by the government and with Charles Manson, the way they did it in the book Chaos. Did you ever read that book, Eric?
I seen a show about that was based on it. I never read the book.
So yeah, so one of the things that they did was I haven't read the book. I just have the cliff notes, and I've watched some shows on it too. But I do own it. And one of the things that they did with Charles Manson is he ended up getting arrested for something. And I forget what it was, but it was something like it was like a misdemeanor. And when he went into the prison, they did some testing or something on him. And then every time he got arrested after that, they would let him off. It was like you could tell, like, what is this guy, an informant? But no, it wasn't because what they were doing is they were starting to hypnotize him. They were doing therapy sessions with him, brainwashing him, and all kinds of shit. And whether he was knew it or not, he literally became a Manchurian candidate.
Oh really?
And this isn't me talking about a conspiracy theory. This is me stating facts that you can find for yourself if you either read the book Chaos has the stuff in it, or the CIA. If you go in the whatever they call that dark vault or whatever, you can see the documents. Like this shit is out there. The problem is there's so much shit out there that it's hard to keep up with it. But this is something I think, and this is why Candace Owens did a thing on is because I think this is something more people should be aware of. Like I just know it in my mind, I just accept it, but I think a lot of people still think this is bullshit or it's conspiracy, and it's just not. It's just not.
I just started looking into it like a year or two ago. I didn't know about it, but now I do, and that's believable. Definitely. I mean, I-
Yeah, I mean it sucks, and like the thing about it is a lot of these things that people like me or you or people in the chat notice, um, we notice them. We it's interesting. I was listening to a video by Carl Jung the other day, and he describes this, and it's basically um a superior ability to perceive things. Some people just have a superior ability than others to perceive certain things that are unseen to most. And he said that this has nothing to do with intelligence, that it has to do with spiritual development. And I thought that was super interesting. And Jung goes into a whole theory about this and the types of people that exist. And you'll, if you listen to it, you may find yourself in one of those types. Cause I found myself in one of those types.
what was the name of the?
I'm gonna post a link to the video because honestly, don't remember the name of the video, but it's about Carl Jung, and he's classifying people who have a superior ability to perceive things that others don't as being more evolved than other people. Like, just evolved, like
Yeah, I got you. More sophisticated, like in
yeah,
what?
like we're more like more spiritually evolved. Not that other people are dumb or whatever, or it's not about. It's more about an evolution. Like I don't know what you think about things like samsara and things like reincarnation and things like that, but I just have certain beliefs about that, and so it all kind of ties in. So it's just kind of wild and interesting when you start thinking about it. Sorry,
No, it's all
sometimes I
right.
take it just a little too far, but
It's all good. Yeah, I
But
just
yeah, let
think
me
that.
find it. But yeah, but basically Young says, oh, this is the other thing he said in the video. I'm gonna find the video. In fact, maybe I'll find it and we can just watch it. I'm gonna talk about it while I look for it. But one of the things that Young says is that people, like, when you perceive something that others aren't, right? So like you could use anything, for example, whether it's COVID or whether it's Idaho 4 or whether it's 9/11, whatever it is, right? When you're looking at it and you start perceiving these things, it's typically patterns that you'll recognize. It's either patterns, emotional patterns. And the other thing that people like this are is they're able to really read micro expressions in other people really well and put it together. It's almost like you can, I don't want to say read their mind, but it's like a third person perspective when you're observing it. It's I got to find this video because it's super interesting. And I was like, shit, this makes a lot of sense to me. And he talks about Young talks about how when you have this ability, or if you have this ability, that it's tough for you because it's only like 20% of the population or 30% are like this. But when you have it, it can be tough because other people will definitely give you shit. They'll either call you crazy or they'll think you're making things up, or you're a lunatic or conspiracy theorist, or you could be a target by the government because you're seeing things more clearly than others, right? And so the whole purpose, though, like, then why? What's the purpose of people who are able to see these things if not to like talk about them? Well, that's all the purpose is. It's really to just talk about what you're seeing and share it with others. And you don't have to, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just sharing my perspective, and you can either resonate with it or not. And that's really all I'm supposed to do with it, I realized. So I don't know. Does that make
Does he
sense,
draw
Eric?
a line where there's ignorance too? Like,
What's that?
there's ignorance involved in some stuff too.
What do you mean? Give me
Like
more.
thinking about just logical, like you're saying, there's some things that could be reasonable, but there's also some things that people say that are just totally not. I mean, they might think it, but it's totally not there.
Oh, I understand. Right. So you're talking about people who believe that they see things that others don't see. Like I could be like, no, you don't understand. You're just not evolved enough to see Jesus. He's right here with me right now, Eric. You just aren't spiritually evolved enough to see Jesus sitting. Are you talking about something like that?
Yeah, just
Yeah. Yeah,
something that's
exactly. Yeah.
just seems outlandish, like totally not.
Totally agree. Fair point. Totally agree. And by me counting myself as one of these people is being presumptuous. But I will say that I will say that what he said resonated, and you still have to use your discernment, obviously. I agree with you. I mean, there's going to be people that say all kinds of shit, they're manipulators.
Like,
Um, but the point being is if you have a more heightened ability to perceive things, you will see those people more clearly than other people might. You're still going to get fooled though. Everybody gets fooled, I think, no matter what.
yeah. I mean, studying people's. I mean, it's a thing to do. Like, there's all different types of people, and like, I'm in a restaurant business, and I run into all sorts of people over the 30 years, and there's just people that I can pick out a type of person for almost everybody, like just the way they act and their demeanor, and
Mhm.
like you can just tell someone like I would never hang out with that person. Or
Right, like, it's funny too, though, I also think it has to do with as we age, because like, when I was younger, I didn't have like there are certain now I think as I've gotten older, you just understand that there are certain patterns of behaviors or certain things that people may do that put them in a certain category as which you may not want to associate with that person because they're probably just going to cause a lot of drama in your life or turmoil. Like you can spot those people more
Yeah,
easily,
like I'll
right?
get someone in the restaurant tell me no tomatoes like 4 times. Like I heard you the
Mhm.
first time. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
okay, but they got to keep saying it. Like they're just
Right. So
uptight.
you
Like
know that
it's
there's an issue. This person has some sort of emotional problem. Like there's no need for. Yeah, I understand what you. That makes sense. No, it
if I don't
totally
do
makes
this job
sense.
right, I don't make money. Like,
Yeah. Oh, of course. Do you do fine dining or do you
yeah,
or
yeah,
do you,
kind of fine dining.
yeah. Okay.
That's on the
Um.
weekends I do that sometimes.
uh,
But I've been doing it for like before I have a regular job Monday to Friday, but that I do on the weekends here and there. But I've been doing it for 30 years. I did it full time for a long time. Like
okay. All right.
so that's and that I just picked up people like
No, it for sure. I didn't I waitressed for a bit, but not that long. But I did, and it is interesting. You do get to but I didn't figure people out until I got older and practiced
and I
medicine, and
tend
I
to
was
work
able
in
to
like
really figure them out.
wealthy Jewish communities too.
Mm.
So
Okay. Oh, so were you working at like lot kosher restaurants and stuff like
no,
that,
not
or
really
no
kosher, just like
conservative?
a lot of people that got money and like like in like Jewish neighborhoods. Because I mean, that's the thing is on Long Island, not everybody goes out to eat every day. So if you're gonna work in a restaurant as your career,
Uh
you
huh.
got to work in one that's busy every day. Like so, in those
Right.
communities, I'm not stereotyping or anything, but those people go out to dinner almost every day. So it's
Really?
yeah,
Oh, wait, Um, are you talking about like conservative Jews, like mostly conservative type Jews are the ones?
yeah, like yeah, every day.
Yeah,
With families and stuff, but
right. I
they
gotcha.
but they live in certain neighborhoods on Long Island, like Merrick and Great Neck and Plainview. Like there's like certain areas that are more
Yes.
populated than others.
No, absolutely. Yeah, they do. I know a lot about. I think I did. Oh, hold on. Sorry. I just wanted to hold on. I found the video so we can look at it. But let me get back over here. Hold on. Sorry. Here we go. All right. So yeah, I did a video where I think I put sometimes I don't put videos out after I read them, but anyway, um, I did a video about Judaism because I feel like I guess sometimes I get irritated, and it's only because I know so much about it, and I'm not trying to be like a know-it-all. It's just that I lived Orthodox Judaism. Okay, I lived kosher. I've spent Pesach in a kosher uh area, not Long Island, but New Jersey, Lakewood. I've been around, I was married to someone who was from that type of family. So I know a lot about that stuff. Like
I
not
dated
just
a girl from Cherry Hill.
okay, all right. I mean, he went to yeshiva, he
Okay.
went to yeshiva, okay, and his family, um, Shomer Shabbos, they call it, and like these are the things I know, and so it's not to be like, oh, I know this and you don't. It's to say that sometimes I hear certain things that are just blatantly false, and I'm like, I just feel like I should correct them. Most of the time, I don't. But the Adelson case also interested me because of that, because I felt like nobody was making enough, like, stink about what they did to the Markel family with that kosher shit. That was brutal.
Yeah,
I
that's a
think
big deal. That's
it was a big deal. I mean, like, for people who, if who else would understand it is other than people like if people like that or you serve philia, someone who is Muslim and is observant with their dietary restrictions, like halal, right? Like
yeah.
some
They don't eat
Muslims,
pork.
right? And their meat is halal. Like I think they do similar things, like with kosher meat. You know what the difference? A lot of people don't know this. Do you know what the difference is between kosher steak and goyim steak? Sorry, just gotta say it's funny.
It's got to be blessed by right a rabbi, right? And it's can't touch cheese or milk or something.
Okay, so those two things are true, but that's not the main thing that makes it kosher. This is actually pretty interesting if you think about adrenochrome. Okay, you know what adrenochrome is?
No.
Adrenochrome is allegedly this hormone that if you're frightened, if you and me are scared and we get killed, we're going to release a lot of adrenaline into our body. It's just normal, right?
Yep.
Fight or flight. Some people say that there are bad groups of people in the world that like to drink that blood afterwards immediately because it gives them youth, it gives them longevity, it makes them feel high. It's pretty sick, but it's real. It's a real thing. Okay.
Okay.
So, so does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah. Okay. So it's adrenochrome is what they call it because it's the hormone, I guess, um, that gets released when you're scared or frightened and
It's
stuff.
adrenaline, basically.
Yeah, it's just adrenaline. Yeah, it's pretty sick though that there's these groups, but there's a lot more involved in that. But I'm not going to get into it right now, just because it's a really long discussion, and I think it deserves its own kind of like show. But aside from that, I'm bringing it up because it has to do with kosher meat, and here's why. When you have a kosher cow, the only way that it can be kosher is if you kill it in one fell swoop. You have to use a blade and you cut it, they say, from gullet to gullet. This is for chicken too. If you kill a chicken, they don't eat pork, so it's not pork. But if it's chicken or beef, gullet to gullet, there can be no nicks in that skin. It has to have been so quick, no nicks, that the animal didn't suffer. And the reason that's important, if you think about it now that we talked about adrenochrome, is because when the animal suffers, it releases all that adrenaline into the beef. And it's not good for people to eat meat like that. It's just not good for you, like overall in general. Most of us have been doing it since we've been kids, but kosher people don't. They don't eat that shit. Their cow is killed humanely, which also helps, by the way, with their karma. It helps a lot with their karma. A lot of people don't realize the karma that we get from eating beef. And, like if you look at chicken and how they make chicken, like it's disgusting. Have you ever seen those chicken videos where the chicken are
Yeah.
bred to not even have legs and arms? So when you go to McDonald's and you eat chicken, you're co-signing that. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad. I'm just saying you're going to get karma for that, whether you realize it or not. And it's why kosher people are smart with the beef and the chicken and shit like that, for a lot of reasons. But that's the main thing that makes it kosher is one swoop, no nicks, nothing. It can't have anything like that. And it has to be done with, instantaneously. That's what makes it kosher. And if you go and you look at these farms where they do kosher stuff like that, you'll see some of the rejects that didn't make it through, that they had nicks. That's for the goy. That's for me and you, Eric. It's not
Oh.
for
I
that's
hear
not
you.
good
Oh, all
enough
right.
for us.
No, I didn't no idea about that.
That's what kosher is. Yeah,
I
just so
got
you know.
okay. Yeah.
So if you ever worry about like, is my meat like how's my the healthiest meat you're gonna find if you don't have like a really good butcher or your own whatever is to just buy kosher. The problem is it's a lot more expensive. So, but anyway,
I got you. Oh, that's interesting.
yeah. So that's the main thing that separates kosher from non. There's other things like obviously shellfish is not. There's things that just simply are not kosher because the Talmud said so.
Yeah.
And a bunch of other rabbis agreed, and they talked about it for centuries and decided, you just can't have these things. And then there's the other big one is no milk and dairy together.
Yeah.
And that actually comes from a verse in the Bible. I forget the wording of it, but if you think about it, it's actually interesting. Basically, it's saying you shouldn't eat a mother in its kid's milk. And so it's kind of gross. But if you think about, say, making some kind of a dish with goat's milk from the mother and then like frying up the baby goat with her milk and eating it, right? Like that's pretty bad karma if you think about it. And it's also definitely not kosher. And I think that's why it's not kosher to mix dairy and meat together
And
because you never want to mix the milk of a mother with the meat of the child in the same meal and digest it.
yeah, but what about the meat from the cow itself? That's kind of mixed, right?
So if you eat the meat from the cow,
The
it's
cow makes milk,
kosher,
right?
right?
So they're together, right? At that one some point.
Well, but you're not digesting them together.
I know. Okay, all right. I got you.
Listen, there are probably Jews that have asked that question in yeshiva and dissected it for weeks, and I'm not lying
No, I
because that's
bet.
what
No,
they
that
do
that's
in yeshiva. No, I'm not kidding. That's what they do in yeshiva. In yeshiva, they take one line, like the Jewish high schools and stuff where they're very like studious, that like the Orthodox,
Yeah.
that's what they do. They take one line and they'll spend a week on dissecting that one line. And the reason I know this is because I was married to someone who went to a yeshiva. He told me all about it. It's absolutely insane. But it explains why a lot of Jewish people, Jewish men, I'm sorry, are really good lawyers because essentially that's what they're doing in yeshiva is they're looking at Bible or Talmud verses and they're dissecting what they mean based on numerology, which they don't really talk about, but they look at the letters, the numbers, how it's worded, why it was worded that way, they dissect all of it, Eric.
Oh
And
wow.
that's why Jewish men in particular have gone through this as through yeshiva are really just so good at being lawyers because they're doing the same thing they've been doing since they were kids, learning how to debate and tear apart, argue and defend an argument about something in your religious book. And so it's pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So these are things that like I think are interesting and culturally I found fascinating when I learned about them. And there's a lot more, I don't want to bore people with it, but I'm just saying like
No,
it's
well,
interesting to me.
yeah, well, that whole thing, you have all those kosher people at a wedding and none of the food is kosher. That's why that's a
Well,
big
right,
issue.
and so imagine, right? So imagine if you see some people understand kosher just as like that's the rule and that's it, right? They don't care anything beyond that. It's like a Catholic who doesn't care beyond saying why you have to say the prayer. They don't need to know the spiritual,
Or
you know
why
what I
you
mean?
don't
Like
eat meat
yeah,
on
yeah,
Friday
like some
during
people,
Lent.
okay, I just know I'm kosher, I don't eat, but other people are going to have more of a spiritual understanding of it. Other people are just not going to they're just going to follow along cuz everybody's doing it, whatever. But regardless of your reason, it's like it's kind of like telling the only way to understand it if you haven't been around it is to tell have a vegetarian convention and they're all there to have their meal and you serve them pork, right? And they're all eating it and they think it's vegetarian because obviously they're vegetarians and this pork tastes so good because they haven't had pork in years and they know that some things you can make taste like real meat now. And so they all eat it and then afterwards you find out, well, the mom really didn't want to pay for the vegetarian option because it was more expensive, so they did vegetarian style. What all those people that ate that pork, how do you think they're gonna feel? They're gonna be fucking pissed.
They feel like they ate poison.
Yeah, they're gonna be pissed, and if it had to do with their religion, now they're really gonna be angry with you because you duped them into doing something that was against their
Yeah.
religion and their God. You fucked them up. So that's why I'm saying that was a big deal what they did to that family.
Or
I'm
you just
shocked
said,
the guy stayed after that. That's why I say Wendy's a Jezebel.
or they just said, fuck you to your whole family. Like,
That's exactly what they just did. I'm gonna tell you right now because here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you why. When I got engaged to this person whose family was, Orthodox Jew or whatever, and they don't things are very different. The whole process is very different. There's a very, very, very different things. But we're trying to integrate the families. And he wasn't practicing as an Orthodox when I met him, obviously, because like I'm
yeah.
not, I did end up becoming more. I don't want to get into all of that. I will just say this efforts were made. In other words, if we were having a bridal shower, say, efforts were made by my family to have kosher meals and kosher beverages and shit available for his family. They came directly from restaurants they know of in Lakewood that still had the tape on it. So because that's how I felt and my family felt that
That's
they
how they
should be
come.
treated. Right?
I
Yeah.
do parties where we get kosher meals and they come
Yeah.
all wrapped up. So
And taped and shit. Right?
you put it
And
on
you
the table
leave it
like
that
that
way.
too, so they know no one fucked with it.
And you leave it that way if you're going to entertain people who keep kosher as a sign it's just a way of respect. It's like letting them know, look, I got you, like this is from the restaurant, it's kosher, nobody touched it. To me, I think that's what you should do. I don't care what culture it is, Eric. I just think that's how we should be treating other cultures, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Respect.
you're going to come to my home, I'm going to make sure that I have the type of things okay for you to eat. I'm going to do these things because I care about your culture and what's important to you.
Yeah,
These people just fuck their whole family over. They don't care. And what's worse is they're Jews themselves.
exactly.
They're, they're just not religious Jews. They're not
Yeah.
observant Jews. And it's fascinating because there's a book. a really good book to read about this, and I read it multiple times. It's called Jew versus Jew, and they go into the whole dynamic of Reform Jews, conservative Jews, Orthodox Jews, the different types of Orthodox Jews, and how they fuck with each other and how they despise one another. And it's true because they do. And so it's a really interesting book to read.
Okay.
So I found this thing on Freud. I'm sorry, not Freud. Oh God, I can't stand Freud. Freud's the worst. Freud was a chomo. Yeah, no, for real though. Freud was just a chomo, and he diagnosed women who had been um, either molested or sexually assaulted as hysterical. He's the worst. He's Freud. Honestly, is likely burning in hell right now, as he should be, because he's just the worst. All right, let's see here. But Young is actually has a lot to teach us, I think. So, all right, here we go.
And why this ability destroys them. In his clinical practice, Jung documented patients with what he called differentiated perception, individuals who could read micro-expressions, sense hidden emotions, and perceive psychological patterns that escaped everyone else. They saw through social masks, detected lies instantly, and felt the unconscious tensions in every room. Jung called this discovery dangerous because these people consistently ended up isolated, exhausted, and unable to maintain normal relationships.
All right, any of my peeps in the chat have this experience? um, this was me at one point in my life. It took a lot to get out of it. I had to sort of shut down. Um, what happened was what happened was I became an alcoholic is what really happened. And because I was an alcoholic, I was able to not shut down. So I was able to socialize. I did a lot of things, whatever, right? But, I wasn't always an alcoholic, but unfortunately things got there, And when I stopped drinking, which I thank God for, I went to rehab, and everything, but I put the work in, and nothing bad happened, right? Like, not thank God. Like, I didn't no accident happened. I didn't get DUI, nothing at work, like nothing. Nothing like that happened. What happened was my mother punched me in the face. You still there, Eric?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
listening.
Yeah, so my mother punched me in the face is what happened because everybody was sick of my shit, including me. And basically, we had gone to a 4th of July party with my kids and whatever. And I'll be honest, like I got shit faced, like way more than I should have. Like I was doing quite a bit at that point in my life. And we came home and I got into an argument. I don't remember what about a soft pretzel with uh with someone, and my mother just had it, and she just punched me in the face. It was like, "You need to go you have a fucking problem. Like, you have a major problem," you know? And, I just agreed with her, I was like, "You're right. I'm fucking terrified," you know? And, the next day, I went to rehab. They found a rehab for me, so I was lucky too. I had really supportive parents and stuff like that. But it was hard, because at the time I was working and I had to tell my boss, and that was one of the harder things I had to do because no one had any idea that I was an alcoholic. Like everything was like at work, like I went to work, I did my job, like I didn't go out and party with people at work because I hid my drinking because I knew if they saw me drink, they'd be like, this girl's got a problem. So I always kept it very compartmentalized, but it was inevitable that it was gonna blow at some point. And I'm just glad nothing horrible had to happen for me to to get rid of it. My mother and father were just supportive, and I asked God to take it away from me. And then I did the work, you know? And so the point I'm making about that though is after that, Eric, it was
Yeah.
hard for me to go out and do things because it was I recognized that for so long I used alcohol um for so many reasons, but one of those reasons was to help me relax when I was in public and stuff, you know? Um and so I just didn't want to go anywhere anymore and stuff. And recently I stopped. Like that it's I would say in the past few years it's gotten much better. But that's cuz I learned how to shut down when I know when my the best way I can describe it is I know when I'm full, like I can't take any more of anybody else's energy and I need to go and recharge by myself. And it's literally like a recharging session. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel because I'm an introvert. And introverts, we feel drained in general by crowds, you know, whereas extroverts are energized by crowds, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I kind of had to learn that about myself and learn like how to deal with that so that I wasn't overwhelmed as much. I don't know if any of that
I
makes
mean,
sense.
I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do when you're shutting something down too. It's like, you know what I mean? If you shut it down, you can't be around people like that because it's going to tempt you. And that's more of a
Yep.
safe, I think it's more of a safe place, not the feeling that you don't want to go out because you might be tempted,
Hmm.
opposed
Well,
to it make you not being social. It's just like,
Well, I'll share this with you, Eric, and this is true, and I am going to tell you that I am so grateful for this. Okay, I am not one of the people like they call them white knuckle sober. I don't have that, Eric. I promise you, I have no desire to ever drink alcohol again. I, in fact, have had friends over. I bought alcohol for them for dinner. They drink it in front of me. I don't care. I don't. God has literally, and I'm not like a holy roll or anything like that. Mother Earth, the universe, my higher self has literally taken that addiction away from me, Eric. And I never thought I would ever say that. If anybody listening right now has an addiction to anything and you say to yourself, I could never, right? Like I could never get rid of this, like it's impossible. I am telling this story is for you because I was that person. I literally was the person that was like, I'm just going to be an alcoholic the rest of my life. Like I'm just going to be a drunk the rest of like I literally believed that nothing could help me. And then when I went into uh rehab, I humbled myself. When I told my boss, I humbled myself. When I didn't have a problem telling people I had this alcoholism. I would joke about it though. I wasn't ready to do anything about it. But when I finally came to terms with that, I I asked God. I literally got on my knees and asked God to take it away from me. And Eric, I promise you, he did. And I still did the work. I mean, I was there for 30 days and everything, but like it's something that I am grateful for every day of my life.
I understand. I quit cigarettes in January and I just cold turkey, just stopped smoking January 2nd and then never even thought about doing it again.
There you go. There you go.
It's like,
You just did it. Yeah.
yeah, it just, so it was, I was ready to do it.
You were ready though, but that's
that's,
the thing. You're like me. Like I wasn't ready to quit drinking. I wasn't ready to do this. It's like, but then my mother made sure that like, yo, yeah, I don't care if you're ready. You need to stop
yeah,
this, you know? And
yeah, I hear you.
and so yeah, and like I don't judge anybody who still drinks or who isn't like that's like I'm the least judgment. That's kind of my thing. Like I'm not a judgmental person. Um, I do have boundaries, obviously, but I'm not gonna assume anything about anybody. I really just don't. I've learned to not do that. I don't assume anything about anybody, based on how they look or whatever. It's, you know what I mean. You probably
Yeah.
realize that in the restaurant
Yeah.
business,
Everybody,
right?
I mean, and everybody's different the way they do things, like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's a little different the way they handle things and do things. And like some people can go out and have 2 drinks and stuff and like, that's it. Others,
Uh,
Like when
I'm
I used to
sorry.
drink heavy, I mean, when I drank heavy, I went out and got smashed every time. It wasn't never had
Uh-huh.
2 drinks. It was getting smashed, like
Well, yeah, that's the funny thing too. Like people, when you're an alcoholic, right? And I get it. There's different way. Like people say, "Oh, like how do you know you're an alcoholic or whatever?" I'm like, you just there's a difference between like there are people that binge drink or people who drank heavily in college and now just drink. The difference between an alcoholic and someone who's not. The best way I can put it is that an alcoholic never has enough. Like somebody who isn't an alcoholic can go to a wedding and have like a martini, maybe a second one, not even finish it, not even think twice about it. An alcoholic is going to make sure that before they even go to the wedding, is it an open bar? Okay. Am I going to have to bring cash for it? All right. And if it's a dry wedding, is it a dry wedding? Do I need to bring my own vodka? This is how alcoholics behave. This is how I behaved. Okay. It's not something I'm proud of. I'm just telling you, that's how you know if you're an alcoholic. You're an alcoholic, probably. I should do one of those skits. You're a whatever if
yeah.
but you're an alcoholic if when you go to a party, you bring your alcohol with you. Like you're not chancing like whatever random shit they're gonna have at the party and have to leave because they don't have what was it that Higgins wanted and they didn't have? You have to leave because they don't have your shit. No, you
Jameson and
bring
gin, yeah.
yeah. If you're an alcoholic, you bring your Jameson with you. You don't need to worry about it. If they have it, great, but you don't need. You're an alcoholic. You're bringing your shit with you. That's the kind of shit I did. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I was I was, and I got away with it for quite a while. Meaning, what I mean by that is most people didn't know and I didn't have any effects. But then I started to get withdrawals and stuff, and it gets to be dangerous. And so I'm just talking about it because I think people should know that it's possible to do that. And I saw this. Jennifer Henry says, I used to be a junkie and alcoholic. God gave me a second chance at life and I am free. Thank God.
God
And
bless.
yeah, thank you for sharing that, Jennifer. Uh and she said she used to be a social butterfly, but she got stabbed. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can imagine it's
I
hard
think
to.
she told us that before. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
I was gonna say I'm putting pieces together of this, but for some reason I didn't think it was you that was stabbed, Jennifer. I feel like I'm gonna have to look. I'm so sorry though. I definitely remember this conversation. Uh L says, I'm crying because in 8 days I'm 40 and I'm proud of myself. But man, I'm still lost and I love you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah.
You should absolutely be proud of yourself. Wait, so
40's not
in
old.
8 days. Yeah, I know, right? 8 days.
Well, happy birthday.
Yes, a happy birthday, doll. Uh, so 8 days will be September
9th.
9th. September 9th, right? Aha. It's funny. Nines are big. That's a big thing in my family. Nines. A lot of us have nines for our birthdays, or numerology adds up to 9. It's fucking crazy. So that's interesting. She was born on the 9th. All right, let's get back to this. Let's look a little more about Freud and what he has to say.
Not because they were unstable, but because seeing everything came with a psychological cost no one understood. Today, I'll show you Jung's most dangerous discovery about people who see everything, and why he believed this rare ability either destroys you or transforms you into something extraordinary. The case that revealed Jung's most dangerous discovery began with a patient he described in his private notes, a highly introverted intuitive type who came to him in 1913 during Jung's own psychological crisis following his break with Freud. This patient, representing what Jung would later categorize as the rarest personality type, possessed what he called undifferentiated intuitive perception. She could walk into any room and immediately sense the psychological atmosphere, who was lying, who was in emotional pain, who harbored secret resentments.
Sorry. Um, I'm telling you, this is the kind of stuff that I experience. And I was talking to some family members about it because they also experience it. And it does sound crazy, right? And maybe I'm not, right, Eric? Like maybe like objectively speaking, am I actually is my analysis correct, right?
I mean, I'll do that in a room with strangers. Like look around and see who's like who I think is what.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like you sit there and you it's like okay, here, sorry, latte's resonating with this. Right, right? Yeah. It's like and that's what Jung is saying here in this, and that's why I wanted everybody to see it. Because it's helpful for people who feel like they've always been a little different their whole life. Um because I've always felt that way. Like I've always felt like a little bit of an oddball, and I curtailed that a lot, but I don't do it anymore. I just embrace the oddball in me. I recognize that that's part of who I am. And even though that sometimes it might make people uncomfortable or people don't understand it, it doesn't change that that's who I am. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah.
my intentions are always good. So whatever it is I'm doing, like I've just learned to embrace it, So I can't, I'm supposed to be this way. This is who I am. So
This is me. Take it.
yeah, yeah, and it's okay, and I understand too, like, not everybody will like me, and that's okay too. I'm not trying to make everybody like me, that's okay. I don't need nobody needs everybody to like them, right? That's a little bit
No,
odd.
no.
So,
People are supposed to be different too. That's what makes people people.
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's get back to this because I think it's really interesting.
Why use Grammarly over ChatGPT? Well, Grammarly offers expert writing suggestions
Sorry, I gotta
versus something generic that everyone.
Jung wrote, "The patient displays an extraordinary capacity for perceiving unconscious contents in others, but this faculty appears to cause her considerable distress rather than advantage. She couldn't engage in small talk because she saw through every social facade. She couldn't maintain friendships because people felt exposed and uncomfortable around her. She couldn't hold employment because her presence disrupted the collective unconscious agreements that keep groups functioning." Jung realized he was
I love that line. She couldn't hold employment because she couldn't because she threatened the subconscious group collective, right? Like like it's this unconscious agreement that we all make, right? To let some shit fly, right? Like trying to think of an example of something that is so obviously not true and people say it anyway and we just let them get away with it. Can you think of something like what I'm talking about, Eric?
Um, like when somebody says something that
Oh,
isn't
wait,
true, and
I
you
have an example. I have an example like this. Like with Moscow, Idaho. We've got the chief of police up there. They're asking questions and they ask him, oh, there were survivors, were they we heard there were hostages. And then like his answer, he was so uncomfortable, right? And the whole thing, it was just so obvious that he was holding shit back and lying. But they all just kinda, like, left it alone, like, nobody pushed any further. Everybody in the room after a while, the reporters and stuff, and the public in that area, I'm not talking about us, but, like, in that area, agreed to just, like, let it fly, to agree to
yeah,
just let this weirdness exist, and it's
like
a
this.
collective agreement is what Jung is saying. He's saying there's a collective agreement that society makes to let these types of delusions exist. And
It's
so when
like there was no
somebody like
ties to the house.
right, right, exactly. It's a collective delusion, right? And so people like me or you or Pavarotti or anybody in the chat who is like, yeah, you're lying. We know you're lying because we have all this evidence, right? We are people that are perceiving outside of the norm, right? And they know there's a certain percentage of us, like 20%, say 30%, that are going to do that, right? They know that. They have to allow for that. What they don't want though is for us to find each other, mobilize, and then let everybody else know that this is bullshit and we don't have to fucking pretend like everything's okay when it's not okay. Do you know what I'm saying, Eric?
Yeah, I understand. But also having the gift of being like that, like I could think, how could you not work though? I think that you should be able to do both. Like,
I agree, but I will tell you something from personal experience. Um, it's tough when you come to certain conclusions and determinations to there's certain things like you have to do obviously to survive. You got to earn money to survive. You got to work to survive. I'm not saying
that's
that. But what I am saying is there are certain things that you might not be able to do once you come to certain conclusions. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, yeah, it does. But just like work is just something like I think you should be able to put your thoughts and everything when you're working away. Like if you're like if you're smart and gifted, I think your brain should be able to work like that. I don't think it should
yeah,
be.
you could
I
be
don't
well,
think it
I
should
think also has
interfere.
to do with emotional being emotionally well adjusted too. I
Well,
think
that's why I
that's
would consider that thinking like that a problem if you can't work, like more
right.
than a
I
gift.
understand. So here's my challenge to you, and then I just want to say something to this person in the chat too because it's interesting. My challenge to you would be this. And look, I'm not saying I'm one of these special gifted people that I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I can identify with some of these traits, right? I'm saying that I think a lot of us listening to this can identify with some of the traits he's saying. We're not
See,
all
no,
going
that
to be like the gem, like, but let's say if it's Jesus Christ, right? Or it's some type of prophet, okay, that comes about, okay? And it could be a scam or maybe it's real. But if it's real, regardless, he's not going to be able to do a regular job. Like these types of people aren't going to, these types of people who, when you stop thinking about life in terms of the way we've been fed it since we've been an infant, it's like jobs become something that are not, we've been made to believe we are our occupations. We've been made to believe we have to live like this. And I'm trying to say we don't. And when you start thinking more and more like that, it does become harder to be under someone's thumb. That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to say.
no, I understand. I get it. Just watching it, you could like absorb it from what he's saying, or you could question it. Like,
Yeah, and then it can become dangerous to the employer because let's say it's a medical field and you're asking too many questions about like certain things that they don't really want to answer because they've collectively agreed that this vaccine is 100% safe for everyone. So they don't want you to ask questions about, well, what about this study that shows this or that study that shows this? Now you're a nuisance to them. They don't want you around anymore.
exactly. It's the
And
second
if
you
you
question them,
yeah, it's a problem.
you're bad.
Yeah. So here, though, I want to bring this up. It says it's called general acceptance. It makes law. I would just disagree with it only because I think the general acceptance of a delusion is not making a law. I think all you're doing, if that's what you're referring to, by the way, vibrations, if it's to something else, then forgive me. But generally accepting shit that is not true, um, I don't think it makes law. I think it basically uh it makes that veil stay where it needs to be. People accept shit that's just simply not I mean there's so many, I'm trying to think of it and I wish I could. I just know there's so many things that people just accept as the way it is and it's just they're not true. It's not helpful, it's not true, it doesn't work. And we all just collectively agree that it's okay. But when
Well, that's who
people
we are. We don't generally us this community we're in. We don't
right.
generally accept anything.
No, we don't. We don't. But society as a whole, the collective as a
Yeah.
whole, right?
Yep.
And so, and that's the thing too, like Archaics talks a lot about this, and he must have read a lot of Jung now that I think about it. But he talks about the collective and the individual and how like we're all part of a collective. Obviously, you can't not be when you live in a collective. However, it's as an individual that you will become free. It's as an individual, that you'll be able to like make changes for the better for everyone. The collective can never do that. The collective can't act in a way that's helpful for everyone. That's why I don't believe in collectivism because I think collectivism and people who are part of a quote hive mind or collective are people who are putting their they're putting too much trust in a system that in my mind is not trustworthy. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying.
Because collectives get really stupid and emotional, if the
Yeah,
collective is, I mean, that's what they're doing now. Everybody gets mad at you if you say the wrong gender, and they want to, like, pour, pitchforks and shit, and everybody gets, oh my God, like, I'm canceled, or I hate you, or you're racist, or you're transphobe, or you're homophobe, and everybody's so afraid to be called these names. I'm not afraid to be called the name, I'm just, I don't, I should be nicer when I say this, but I won't accept what someone tells me I am based on, if they don't know me, like, I don't, whatever. You know what I'm saying, Eric?
yeah, yeah,
How do
yeah.
you
I,
feel
I
about
understand
that?
what you're saying. Yeah, that's how I am. I mean, I don't really care what other people say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, to an extent, like, obviously you want people to think you're pleasant, whatever. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not trying to, like, make people hate me. I'm not trying to be an
yeah, yeah.
ass.
No, I know what you're saying, but
But, like, at the end of the day, that's why I think, like, a lot of the trolls on social media and stuff, there are definitely people that are paid to do that, to paid to torment other people, and it really does torment some people. And I just want those people to know, like, the you're so much bigger than that. Like, any comment that anyone could make about you on any social media, you're so much bigger and better than that. Just never even give it a second thought, right, Eric?
exactly, it's one person saying something that they don't even know you, and they're making a
Even if it
comment.
was
Like,
20 people, though, Eric, I wouldn't
yeah, no,
care. It's like,
exactly. That's true too.
right?
It's yeah, yeah. But I'm saying just, but it starts with one person.
Like, here's an example of something I did in my life that, um, where I felt like, like, when I was going through the divorce or whatever, I was working, with my ex at the time, and he had spread, like, all of these horrible rumors about me that weren't true. And he was one of those people, like, sometimes when you get a divorce, what happens for some people, I didn't do this because I apparently am not, I don't know, a narcissist or whatever, but narcissists, what they do when you get a divorce is they immediately go out and they try to get all of your friends against you and on their side. Like, they view this as like a competition, and a side has to be chosen, right? I didn't even think about that. Like, I was too upset and emotionally distraught about all kinds of other shit, right? So, like, all of a sudden I see all these people looking at me like kind of funny or different. They're not returning if I text them or what. And then eventually, I had one true friend through all of this, one who worked with me, who told me what was going on. And once I understood what was going on, I could have cracked, I could have crumbled, I could have cried, I could have run out screaming. I didn't, though. I walked into that place every fucking day with my head held high, and every day with my head held high. I didn't care. I felt like I was wearing a scarlet letter. I didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit. I walked in every day with my head up, and those people were all talking about me when I walked out. I know they were, and I didn't give a fuck. And it was the most freeing experience of my life. And I
Yeah, when
highly
you know it's
encourage
not
it.
true, it's the best feeling. Like, you know it's not true. You can say
Exactly.
whatever you want.
And I highly encourage it to anyone when they're getting shit from people. Who cares? You're right. It wasn't true. I don't care what they were saying. The if they didn't have the fucks to give to come up to me and actually ask me what was going on, or say, "Hey, I heard this," or whatever, I don't have anything more to say to them. Like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
people like that, why do you want anybody like that in your life? They're just going to
yeah.
backstab you. They clearly just did, So I don't care. I wasn't upset.
I
But
say,
that's
you
what
know
people
me.
do.
You know who I
Yeah.
am. You know, like,
Yeah. Either you do or you don't. Those people
yeah.
clearly didn't. And that was fine. They moved on. But it's crazy though. It's crazy. And I'm just saying, like, um, it's just one of those things, like, you just, you got to find it inside of you and recognize, like, we are all so much bigger than they've made us out to be. And yeah, like, we're here.
And that's what a narcissist does.
Oh yeah, it's, yeah. Actually, I'll definitely do some videos on that, because I have a lot to say about that. But I don't want to be one of these people. I'm not going to name names or anything. I'm just going to kind of go through some of the experiences I've had. I don't want to, I've seen these channels, his, like, channels where, like, when people break up with narcissists or whatever, and they're just like, oh, and I'm just doing so good, and like the narcissist is like constantly checking me out or whatever. It's honestly like you can tell they're just not over the person. So
Yeah.
they're making a channel about it, you know, and I'm like, that's not what I'm gonna do. Like, but I do think it'd be helpful to share some of my experiences because I've had some pretty intense ones that I think people would probably find helpful. But
Wasn't treating pathology. He was observing what happens when the unconscious becomes too conscious, when perception becomes too differentiated for social survival. He documented her describing people with startling accuracy. She speaks of others as if she has access to their private thoughts and hidden motivations. When I verify her observations through careful questioning, they prove remarkably accurate. This wasn't psychosis or delusion. This was consciousness so advanced it had become socially dangerous. But Jung discovered something even more disturbing. Because this patient's extraordinary perception seemed impossible to explain, therefore Jung began investigating what he would later term participation mystique, the psychological phenomenon where individuals with highly differentiated intuition become overwhelmed by unconscious contents from others. Jung wrote in his Red Book period notes, "There are those among us whose psychic apparatus is so finely tuned that they absorb not merely conscious communications, but the entire unconscious atmosphere of their environment." Modern research
sorry,
by Dr.
I'm just laughing because I've had like I'm not saying that all of this happens to me exactly, but a lot of this really resonates with this shit. And from even when I was a kid, like this is I would see when I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I would see a stranger on this is a vision. I remember seeing this like there was an old man. He was sitting on a bench in the town I grew up in, which was really small. And I just knew that he was grieving and I started crying and I just saw him through a window of my car. Like I remember this very vividly, you know? And so I don't think that's by accident. And I've got so many more experiences like that. I'm only sharing it because of what he's saying, like where you can look at someone and know what's happening or whatever. And but I don't know how to objectively test that, I guess, you know? So it could just be I'm a nut. Right, Eric?
Yeah. I'm just saying, I mean,
I
depends.
mean,
I mean,
truthfully, I don't know. I feel like I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, uh, hmm, I think we are all capable of this. I think there's just too much noise, and we've lost that ability. And I definitely believe that this exists, and I've experienced some of it myself. I guess so. I think you have a heightened sense of perception about a lot of this stuff, right?
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's moments. I just think it's like moments like I have where I just detach from and put myself in another world like this.
Mhm.
And, just think about, see something, and then it just put myself in another world and just, analyze it to the.
Right,
And
like
it's just,
you're basically like a third party perspective where you're just like above the situation and kind of looking at all the
yeah,
issues.
exactly. Yep. Like,
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Eric. You're doing exactly what I'm talking about. And what I bet a lot of other people in the chat. And that's what Young, I think, is talking about. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm excited though, because you're recognizing these patterns. And I'm telling you, I just assume everybody does that, but I don't think they do.
I do that a lot. Like, I just like,
Yes, even animals, Ellie. Yes, even fucking animals. I know if the chipmunk in my yard is upset. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous. You know?
and I
So,
could do it more after I met someone a few times. Like,
mhm,
when I think I know what kind of person they are, I could
mhm,
like just detach with them with another conversation with someone, just
mhm.
like how they are.
Yeah, so obviously like it to me it's a real thing. There are scientists who have, you know, studied some of this stuff. I don't know if I talked to you about this or not, but do you know where we talked about this, where the consciousness is, right? Did we talk about this?
I'm not sure.
Well,
Keep going.
so here's the thing, right? So like we have this consciousness, right? Like we're aware that we're alive, okay? Allegedly, we are the only people who have this. They tell us that animals and everyone else aren't, they don't have this consciousness. I'm going to say right from the jump, I don't know how they can prove that. I don't know how that's provable. I understand that animals aren't talking and communicating, that we understand. Maybe they think we're the stupid ones, right? Like, did you ever wonder, like, maybe like the raccoons, this is just me being stupid, but
Yeah.
seriously, they definitely communicate with one another. I don't know what they're saying because I haven't studied it, but they communicate. Maybe they look at us like we're we're not
Yeah.
conscious.
Why
You
do
know
these
what I
people
mean?
kill each other every day?
Yeah, like look at these idiots. Like we're the evolved ones over here, right? So that's my point when they say things like we're the only beings with consciousness. I don't believe that. What do you think about that?
No, I think animals have consciousness. They're aware of their surroundings, and I think that's kind of consciousness.
Mhm.
Like a
Mhm.
deer would know not to run in the street if the car's coming.
They mourn their children when they're sick.
Yeah, well,
There are
they protect
mothers.
themselves against us and other
Mhm.
animals. So I think they totally have consciousness.
Right.
I mean,
So
dogs are
it's oh
a
sorry.
quite example. A dog, they could, they play fetch. They could give you a paw. I mean, they totally got consciousness. You know what I mean? They learn. They could learn.
Mhm.
They know when to go to the bathroom after a while. They just learn. And I think that's consciousness.
Mhm. No, I agree with you. Like animals, I talk to my animals all the time. I have two of them out here with me right now, my Great Dane puppy and the other one. I talk to them all the time like they're people. If I'm
Yeah.
feeling upset about something, I just let them know about it. I just communicate. And the thing about it is though, um fuck, I forget what I was going to say. But I do think that we can have these skills or whatever you want to call them, as long as you understand that, because you could get carried away with it and just assume that you know what other people, and this is where I have a problem, right? And this is where it can actually become a big problem. And this is something you mentioned, right? If you assume that you can read other people's minds, I think it's better. Like for me, when I'm talking about reading people's minds or whatever, I'm not talking about the people that are close to me. I'm not talking about like my kids and stuff. I know how they're doing, or my mom and dad, or by talking to them. I'm talking about strangers that I don't know. Those people, I literally, I write full on biographies about these people in my mind, Eric. Like full on, like there are creators on YouTube that I have full backstory biographies in my brain about. I don't know why I have this backstory. I don't know if it's true or not, but I have it in my brain. It's logged there. Why do I do this? I don't fucking know. Do you know what I'm
Like,
saying? So,
yeah, I hear you. Like someone could tell me like I got a wedding 3 weeks from today on a Saturday, and then I see they call in sick that day,
mhm,
and I immediately say, oh, they had a wedding today. Like,
mhm.
I
Right.
just like I
Yeah.
just know that like that I wouldn't forget that. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things. And they want us to believe that, oh, that's just a coincidence, or oh, that's just it's but nothing. I am a firm believer actually at this point that nothing is a coincidence. Um no, I don't think anything's a coincidence, not
I
anymore.
believe that too.
Yeah, not anymore. I used to agree with that. Here's the other thing that's really fucked up, okay? Think of this is something as a person, as a PA or whatever, okay? I love my backstory from you. It's actually a really nice one. I think you would like it. What was I gonna say? And they got me all distracted now because I have backstories on some people. Um, shit. Wait. Oh, this, Eric. Okay.
Okay.
So in medicine, one of the things that they do is they teach us that the placebo effect is not ethical. So do you know what the placebo effect is?
Yeah, that's where they would like inject you with something fake opposed to like something real, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah. So
if
okay,
there's a
so Right. So they could inject you with it, or they could give you a tablet that's a sugar tablet and tell you this will make you high, or this will make your blood pressure go down, or this will make you calm, or this will make you go to sleep, or whatever it is. But all that's really in the pill is sugar, right? So that's what
Yep.
the placebo effect is. Okay. So we're taught in PA school, as I'm sure they're taught in nursing and medical school in this country. I don't know about other countries, but in this country, that to use a placebo and it's tricking someone, and it's therefore not ethical. Okay. And I just accepted that and never asked any questions about it until recently, when I realized what a fucking hoax it is that our medical system is based on this. It's a lie, first of all. It's a lie that a placebo effect is unethical. And the reason it's a lie, and I can tell you that that's a lie, is because the placebo effect is true. It's real. We've all experienced it. We all know it's true. We don't need to do an experiment to prove it. We just know it's true. Right, Eric?
Yeah, yeah.
So when something's true, right? It is. There's nothing more to it. Like, sure, we can do studies on it, and there have been studies. Placebo effect works fucking great. But even if you didn't read the studies, Eric, you would know that you can give somebody a pill that's just purely sugar and tell them this will make you fall asleep. And I bet you most people, if they aren't highly skeptical, will fall asleep, especially kids, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So why is it that we have a medical system that is telling us, at least like if you're a doctor, PA nurse, whatever, that to do something like that is unethical? The reason they're telling us to do that is because, Eric, that's what like natural healers, shaman, witches have been doing for centuries, using placebos. But the thing is not all of it's placebo. I'm not saying that they use also actual herbs that work and tinctures and things like that. But much of what they're doing, really, if you think about it, they're healing, because that's what they were, number one, born to do. They already know how to do it. And maybe they use some sugar pill or whatever to make somebody calm down. Most of what they're doing is real, right? But I'm positive if anybody's a parent, they've used placebo to heal their kids. We've all done it. That's not unethical. That's true. So we've made a complete society that we live in, and people who are trained to know, anatomy and physiology and how things work, believe that if you give placebo, that it's a bad thing. And I'm here to say I don't think it's a fucking bad thing. In fact, I think it's a good thing. And if they're going to use that, look at the pharmacology bullshit they feed us. That's okay. That's ethical. These pills are ethical. Look at the studies, Eric. If you look at the studies for a lot of the medicines that people are taking, namely blood pressure medicines, and then you look at the studies for statins that a lot of people are taking, most of the studies are not much better than placebo. Some of them are, the statins are, but most people don't need to be on them. It's really sick the way that they've fucked things up, Eric.
Well, that's like
Sorry.
diet pills. Usually, if you want to get healthy and go on a diet, you start exercising, you start eating right, you start taking the diet pills. Are they working, or is it just because you started exercising and you didn't exercise, and you started eating right because you never ate right, and then you're
Right.
like, oh, these pills are great?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, and that's essentially like the principle of it, right? Like that's the psychological principle of it, which
Yeah.
is like,
So I think it's
and
all psychological.
it is. And I do, but here's the thing though. I think I think we can heal ourselves. I think some of us are born to help heal others. I think that's what I'm supposed to do, is help people heal, whether it's emotional or physical. And I feel that way, and I'm able to say it now. I've come to terms with it because I've just done it so many times, whether
Well,
it was in my profession or just in my like friend group or family. It's just something I'm most comfortable doing, and I know what to do,
that's my
and
theory on COVID. They didn't want us to heal ourselves.
they don't. No, they
They
don't.
didn't want us to get, the
No,
immunity and the antibodies. They wanted us to sit there and just be sick.
I have a lot of thoughts on COVID. And I think I don't want to go into them too much, but there's a lot of stuff I think that was designed to do, and it was definitely
Yeah,
planned
I
and
mean,
all of
my
that
example
stuff.
is just one thing I thought.
Yeah, no, absolutely, I agree. It's just the I mean, I'm an introvert, so honestly, like there was a lot of COVID that didn't bother me. I was like, I'm just like
To
introverted.
this day, I think it was the flu.
Oh yeah, they didn't have any flu. They didn't have any flu that year. Just
Yeah, no one
COVID.
got the flu that year. Everyone got COVID. And if they
Yeah.
feed you that, there's people that think that.
Yeah, no,
That's what
it's
I question.
unbelievable, and I don't want anybody to ever say to me again, "Oh, I don't know how the Nazis like took over Germany and put people in concentration camps." I don't want anybody who lived through COVID to ever say that to me again because that's what the fuck happened. Do you remember the things that people were saying? People like politicians and like celebrities, whatever, about people who weren't vaccinated, how we should die, how our children should die. Do you remember
Yeah,
this shit?
yeah.
And they're trying to say they don't know how Nazis happened. We were going in that direction. Nobody was stopping that shit. I
Yeah.
remember that, and I
No,
remember who
yeah.
said it. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, oh no, boo boo, you can't just like forget that. Like, you can't just pretend like everything's cool now. When like you like divided families, uninvited people to weddings,
Yeah.
wanted people to die. No, that shit doesn't just get swept under the rug now. That's not we're not all on the same team anymore, Those kind
Yeah.
of people clearly separated themselves, in my opinion.
No, definitely. Yeah. Like,
Those were the people that would be Nazis, is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Those are the people that would have taken the orders, no questions asked. And then you had a whole bunch of dipshits. I'm sorry, I'm gonna roll tonight, but you had a whole bunch of dipshits who just thought that they were saying the right thing to tell people to get vaccinated, who had no clue. They're just like the useful idiots.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
And those are the ones they make memes out of. The ones that show you, oh, you better get vaccinated. Everybody get vaccinated. And then a year later, they're the one that died. Just how many memes have you seen of those people? A year
oh, a
later,
million.
they
Yeah.
got they died from a heart attack or whatever, because they got
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. It's just, I think like someone told me they got COVID the other day. I'm like, that's still a thing?
yeah, no, please. And they're trying to start it back up again. Don't do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, this one really bothered me too. Watching people that weren't able to go into be with their I'm telling you right now, that was the worst. I was so disgusted. I was so disgusted.
That's why I liked Florida. Florida said, fuck that.
True. That's right. Including the Florida's Attorney General. I agree, Latte. I
DeSantis,
agree.
yeah, he didn't give a shit. There were people on the beach, people having, they didn't give a shit.
Yeah. Oh, Latte. Well, I agree with this 100%. Also, the reason why I agree with it is because the Nazis never really left. Well, they left Germany, but they came here. I mean, a lot of Nazis. Who was the Nazi is the person who founded NASA, our biggest fucking psyop money sucker of the American people. Guy was a Nazi that founded that shit. I mean, let's be real. Why is this something we overlook? Here's another one we all like kind of agree to overlook. I'm not talking about people listening to me, okay? I'm talking about in general, right? Um, that Margaret Sanger, the woman who spread Planned Parenthood, is a straight up fucking eugenicist. Everybody wants to whitewash this shit like it's not a big deal. It's a major big deal. Planned Parenthood, since its inception, has been based on eugenics. It's why it's in certain neighborhoods, including mostly lower income or people who aren't white. It's why it's in those neighborhoods. It's always been that way. And people want to talk about Planned Parenthood being this great thing. Fuck Planned Parenthood. It's horrible. It's genocide. It's so many people in this
Yeah.
country. And I'm not even talking about abortion. I'm just talking about what Planned Parenthood was designed to do. I'm
Yeah.
tired of people not talking about it and acting like it's not a thing. It's real. It's proven. Sanger was a eugenicist. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a good point. Ugh. Ooh,
Uh-oh.
let's hear more of this
Hitler.
video.
What's that? Oh yeah,
Is
let
there
me
more
put
to
that back
this?
on. Yep, I'm gonna put more on. Yep.
Elaine Aron on highly sensitive persons validates Jung's early observations. Her research shows that roughly 20% of people have heightened sensory and emotional sensitivity. But Jung identified something more specific within his psychological typology, the introverted intuitive type, comprising roughly 1% of the population, who don't just feel deeply, but perceive unconscious patterns with startling clarity. Jung observed that these individuals have what he called differentiated intuitive function. Their brains process not just obvious social cues, but unconscious emotional states, repressed content, and psychological patterns that others cannot detect. They see the depression behind forced smiles. They sense the desperation.
I'm telling you, this shit happens to me all. This is the kind of shit. Okay, Eric. I'll go
Yeah.
into like a gas station to pick up some gum or whatever. Whatever. The clerk, immediate backstory with this guy. I look at him. All he has to do is, I'm paying whatever it is and have a smile. I have an immediate backstory about the clerk at the gas station. I know his smile is not that he's forcing it, that he's having a bad day. His dad's not there. Maybe his dad's not feeling well. I mean, like I'll go into the whole thing. This is the fucking stuff I do. I'll say, oh, it's not a genuine smile because it's like micro expressions. You can read them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
But you see him a lot, right? The same person?
No, I'm talking about this is somebody I've seen twice. No, I haven't seen
Okay.
him a lot. No, these are people that I will. It's literally like I have backstories when I walk in. It's people that I haven't seen a lot. No, people that
Oh,
I
okay.
know well and stuff, I can't do it with. In fact, I don't even want to try to do it with because I feel like that's crossing a line or a boundary for me.
I tend to do that more.
Okay.
No, well,
Yeah.
not like more like at a job point. Like when I see a customer 3 or 4 times, I'm like, oh,
Oh,
this guy.
yeah, I understand
I know
that.
how to, but I'll be like, I know how to handle this guy. You know what I mean? Like if
Right.
they're
Yeah.
one of those people, like this guy likes this, like this, like that, things like that. I pick up, like, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't like me to go over to the table right away. He likes to sit there for 10 minutes before I go over there, or he likes to drink in 2 seconds and then I stay away for 10 minutes, like just, which I all think is annoying.
Right, but you know his quirks, you know all
Yeah.
about it, you know what I mean? So, no, I get it. I hear it.
And I picked that up, after a couple, you know,
You
sometimes on the
yeah,
first time,
'cause you
sometimes
have
it takes some.
you're perceiving, like, you're picking up on social cues. You're able to perceive, like, "Okay, this guy is annoyed if I come over here right away." Whereas somebody else who doesn't have that perception has no clue. They keep going over too early, and then the guy decides to not fucking go back there ever again,
Yep.
you know? So, no, that is to me, that's an evolved way of thinking that I personally don't think everybody has, and I think that's why people who do have it get frustrated by people who don't because we don't understand, you know?
Yeah.
But here he says, it's overwhelming, especially oh, wait, sorry, I wanted to leave this one. I had to leave my job because I was inundated by others ors. Yeah, I've never been able to stay in a job. Like, once I don't complain about my job. If I'm in a job and I don't like it, I'm looking for another job to leave, and then I'll complain about it later. Like, I'm not gonna complain, I'm just gonna start looking for another job, you know? It's really tough sometimes. Uh, but wait a minute, hold on. Uh Weird thoughts. I just wanted to bring this one up because I have I think too much to the point where I will put myself into some kind of like headspace that is not healthy. That like I'm literally like I'm pondering I ponder life's like meaning so much. It's stupid. Like I think it's bad in a way. I think there is too much thinking about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like, it's not good to do that too much, because it
Overthink.
does yeah, it gets me too, anxious. It's not a good feeling. So that's why I like to talk about these ideas, these weird ideas I have with you guys, because it honestly helps me to, like, feel like I can share and see if other people relate and you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
All right.
The conscious mind is crazy.
It really is. And okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about though. And I just before I forgot, so consciousness, I was mentioning like this whole consciousness thing about animals and people and where is our consciousness, right? And like most people, like if I ask you guys in the chat or you, Eric, like where do you think your consciousness lies? Like your this person that you call yourself, this being that you're like, I'm Eric. I'm talking right now with Post Woke World on YouTube or whatever. Like,
uh,
where is that consciousness coming from?
I think where does it come from?
Where is it emanating from? Is it coming you know, like some people like just
Daily
what
experience, like my daily experience. Like,
no, but
like
what I mean by is it something that's inside of you? Like is it in your brain? Is it coming from your brain? Is it coming from you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm at.
yeah.
Is it coming from your heart? Like where do you think it's coming from?
Well, I mean, I think it comes from your brain, but it affects your heart. It depends. That's why I mean daily experience, like where you're
Okay.
at.
All right,
And I
that's
think it
fair.
comes together. Like if your brain hits your heart, if you're in that kind of situation.
Okay. So check this out, okay?
Mm.
Hold on for a minute cuz you're really good you're going to really appreciate this. Um My mind works wonders wildly and every night, and I have a massive bad fear of death. Yeah, I have trouble sleeping. I've had this insomnia now for so long. I don't even know what to do about it. Think about us Gen X kids. We were into everything. We really were. I mean, I love my generation. You're Gen X, right, Eric?
Yeah. I'm 50.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So check this out. Hold on for a minute. I want to show you this because we're talking about it, and I think it's pertinent. Uh
No, this is interesting. I like this.
Yeah, this is actually pretty cool too, this whole consciousness thing. When I show you this, you're gonna be like, "What the fuck?"
We could always
Right.
talk about Idaho.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind talking. I like to talk about Idaho, and
No,
I'll
me too. I'm
continue
just
to talk about it. But like, there's only so much. Like, I'm not gonna. I think people are capable of being interested in more than one thing.
definitely.
So, all right. So let's see. I just want to see. His name is. It's Okay, this is so fucking cool. All right, cool. I want to share this with you guys because when I heard this, I was like, stop. I'm dead right now. Okay, hold on.
I'm going to show you a way to potentially make money by pairing Amazon with the power of AI without ever selling physical products. And I promise you've never heard about.
Okay, so I'm going to skip this, but don't be frightened by the title. Okay, it says Quantum Information Panpsychism Explained. Okay. So yeah, like if don't be freaked out by physics titles or quantums or whatever, because it's so much better than that. It explains so much. Sorry, I'm just reading a little bit of the chat here, Eric.
It's all good.
Latte has a crazy theory on Idaho, and it's something they knew from day one over the years. I'd love to hear it. You're
Me
always
too.
welcome. Yeah, you're welcome to come up on stage. I'm gonna just play a little bit of this video here, and yeah, and then I'll drop a link if anybody wants to come up. No, Al, and you would have wished you didn't, because you would have had your friend post woke telling you, girl, you should have came to class today because you missed some seriously good shit. All right. So let's check it out. Check this shit out. Hold on.
About this before.
Why is Amazon paying?
Imagine that you control a drone. The drone looks at that reality where it is, sends me information, and I get the conscious experience of what the drone is seeing. That conscious experience is not in my body, it's in my consciousness.
A scientific theory that basically states that our body is operated like a drone from a conscious quantum field, which would mean that experience, qualia, is not in your head.
The qualia do not exist in the body, they exist in the field.
Okay, is anybody else's head spinning right now? Anybody else feel a little dizzy? When I first heard this, I fucking felt dizzy, Eric. I was like, what?
Yeah, it's definitely makes you
And this
think.
guy isn't saying it's a theory. This guy is saying it's a fact, Eric. And he's going to tell you. This guy, and nobody wants, this is the other shit, okay? Nobody wants to talk about quantum physics and how it doesn't work with the old physics. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's coming to a head. And what's happening is what was always inevitable, which is this science meeting spirituality, where they can't deny it anymore, you know? They want us to think we're slaves, that we're meaningless. We're this little dot in this big galaxy. We're not. Every single one of us has incredible meaning and purpose. So
Yeah, well,
that's my opinion.
yeah, no, I hear you. Like, how did we get here? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they don't want to let us know. They don't want to let us know. And honestly, I at this point, well, let me play the rest of this. I'm gonna play some more of this because this is fascinating, guys.
People will find this crazy idea.
It is crazy, but it is much closer to the truth.
Federico Faggin invented the first CPU, the touchpad, and worked on the first neural nets, which gave him the hope of creating conscious AI.
It took me 30 years to figure out that mathematics is created by consciousness, and therefore I cannot explain consciousness with mathematics. Many physicists think that there is emergent properties in the purely classical world. It cannot be. Emergentism requires quantumness.
Like some other renowned physicists, Faggin is convinced that consciousness cannot be a classical phenomenon and has to be quantum. But his theory of quantum consciousness goes beyond any theories on the table.
We have to go way beyond Schrödinger's equation. We have to go into Dirac's equation, but even beyond that, we have to go to quantum fields and quantum information. And quantum information goes beyond the concepts of quantum fields. In fact, the only physicist that's been able to show that quantum physics derives from quantum information is an Italian physicist, Giacomo Mauro D'Ariano. He showed that you can derive all the
represent all my
physics
Italians
from quantum bits.
Federico Faggin reached out to Mauro D'Ariano, and together they published a paper, and Federico wrote this book. If they are right, not only will they have an accurate theory of consciousness, they will also solve the mystery of the interpretation of quantum mechanics.
Quantum information is the representation of inner experience, and the collapse of the wave function is the representation of the free.
This guy's getting his mind blown.
What more do you want?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Let's try and really understand this. Welcome to the Essentia Foundation's YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and may I ask you to like and subscribe, as it really helps us to grow our channel. Now, this interview was recorded when Federico visited the Netherlands to present his new book, Irreducible. A link to the book and scientific papers are in the description below. And in his book, Federico describes how a deeply personal experience led him to start investigating consciousness. Therefore, I found it interesting to start our conversation with this personal experience. Of course, after that, we go into the theory itself. In the chapter marks below, you can see the topics we discussed. Now, without further ado, here is Silicon hero and consciousness pioneer, Federico Faggin. Federico, can you tell us about a pivotal moment in your life, namely the experience you had at Lake Tahoe, do I pronounce that correctly?
Yeah.
During your Christmas holidays of 1990.
Yeah, I wasn't happy, and I reached everything that the world says that if you do all this stuff, you should be happy. And I wasn't. I realized that I was faking being happy because I needed to, because I was running a company. I had to be enthusiastic and everything else, but I was dying inside. So what's going on? What's wrong with this?
His interpretation of happy is the question.
So consciousness then was,
I'm sorry, what did you say there?
I said, well, what is happy? Like that's what he obviously what he thinks happy is wasn't what he was at. That's
Right. And here's my thing. For me, what I think in my mind, if I had to tell you what I think he means, here I'll project onto him. I'll tell you what I think he means. I think what he means is he didn't feel fulfilled and he didn't feel at peace with himself. He didn't feel like he was really doing anything.
you know why he didn't set the bar high enough.
Or maybe because what he was doing is something that was not the truth. Like I can tell you from practicing medicine, I did enjoy it, but there came a point, and COVID was it. But it would have come to it almost came to a point other times where it would have been like, I'm done playing these like pretend games, like this is all okay. I'm done pretending like when you take kids to the pediatrician and they need a vaccine, that it's normal to have 2 or 3 people hold them down to give that kid a shot. That's not normal. It's not okay. It's never been okay. And I don't know why they say it's okay. And they to this day do it to babies and kids and everything else, right? That's just one example is what I'm trying to tell you. And they add up over time and they're all very problematic. And so at some point I'm like, yeah, I should be happy. I'm making good money. I'm doing what I studied to do, but I'm not fulfilled or at peace because ultimately I feel like I'm not doing any good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But in your conscious, did you think that was going to make you happy, all that? Or
I did. I thought that if I had a job that paid well but that also made me feel like I was giving back to society, like helping the world in some way, that I would be content with that. But what I found was I'm not talking about my life in general. I'm talking about actually working in this capacity. What I found was I did really enjoy it for quite a while. And most of the time I was doing it. But it did come to a point where there were too many things about it that I didn't like and that I disagreed with and that I didn't feel completely fulfilled, and it got worse over time. And so, and that's when like the whole culture of medicine was like 15-minute appointments. Patients get to tell you what they want. You don't, they're going to come in and say they read something off Google and they want penicillin because it's like crazy, what it was reduced to,
Yeah, they're questioning
you. Tell me what they want. I don't mind. Some people actually know more than I do. I know that. I'm not stupid. And some people, look something up and they're anxious. That's not what it was about. It was about the 15 minutes I had. To me, that's disgraceful that you give people. I could go on and on, but I maybe understand my point now.
I understand.
Yeah. So I think for him, what he's saying is he's trying to advance like the world. He's like a world-class physicist, renowned, and he's doing this and he's making great money and his family is great and everything's going great. And he should be feeling like the best thing in the world, like he's doing everything. But then what he realizes is, no, he's actually not at peace because he is part of the collective just accepting these things that are no longer true in physics because it makes people feel better, because it doesn't rub people the wrong way. He got tired of pretending like these things were not true. And that's what I think he's talking about here.
Oh, okay.
That's my opinion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what and this is how I read people, Eric. There. I just gave you an example.
No, I read them different.
And that's how I read people. And I could be wrong. Maybe you're right. But I'm just saying.
Like I'm reading that he's financially stable. He's got, I guess a wife, a family, and he thought that would make him happy, but he's not happy. And I was thinking because he wants more.
Yeah, well, what he wants is the truth. Like, and so, in my opinion, so.
No, well, you just made that clear to me. Like, I'm wondering what he wants, and then you.
Yeah. Okay. Now you understand it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So let's go.
Became center stage in my life, understanding that this consciousness somehow was also connected with feeling, desperate inside. So what's going on? So I wanted to understand what consciousness is. So that's when, and I wanted to understand it for my own sake, for not to do something about it, not to monetize, not to make a new technology, because before it was all about, doing something, and now all of a sudden I turn my attention inside because of the suffering. And it was in this climate that I had this extraordinary experience of consciousness. Now I can go to this Tahoe night, in 1990 during the Christmas holidays. We had a home up in Tahoe, which is Lake Tahoe is a beautiful lake, 2,500 meters, and there are mountains and skiing is great.
New users can now get NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube for 8 payments of only $34.50 per month to watch more of your favorite teams' out-of-market games without switching your live TV service. Sign up now. Terms and embargoes apply.
Sorry. I'm trying to get back.
Can you please just hear me out? No, all work management platforms are the same. Monday.com is the one you'll actually love to use. Did you see the dashboards?
And so, one night I woke up midnight, I was thirsty, went to get a glass of water, and went back to bed and was just waiting for, go back to sleep and thinking nothing. And all of a sudden, out of the chest, just energy was coming out of my chest, but it was love. And it was love.
This is crazy.
Never felt before. It was love that was coming from me. How can love come from me? I mean, it was.
I love this story. Do you hear this guy, Eric?
Yeah, I'm listening. Yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna put it back. Sorry, if you guys hear like little funny sounds, it's because my dogs are trying to get my attention and they're fighting with each other. They're so freaking cute. All right, Josie. Okay. So yeah, this guy's like, and it's just coming from me. You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh my God, it's so cute. But hold on for a minute.
And he's saying it's not coming from his conscience.
Right. Well, here's the thing, and I don't want to blow the surprise. I'm
Okay,
not going to blow the surprise. I want
it,
you guys to hear it because it's interesting. But I just wanted to highlight a couple of these things over here because people are dropping some comments, and I like to engage with the chat. Jennifer Henry says he's looking for more. Absolutely. Oh, you're inspiring, and I know you touch. Oh, you're so sweet. You're going to make me cry. When I go down this rabbit hole, it really hurts my head knowing that most, if not everyone here, really doesn't know who, where, why, or how we came about. I think, but I agree and I understand that. But at this point, I kind of realized, like, I kept waiting, right, Eric? Like, I don't know if this makes sense. And Latte and guys, like, I kept waiting, like, I have to reach some level where I get, and then I can start, like, talking about things like this. But then I realized, like, I just need to start talking about them now because I want to kind of find other people that understand what I'm saying and feel the same way type stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. But I mean, I always live my life as this is my life. What I do with it, I do with it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Day
by day, and where I am. When I was 21, doing what I do, and now I look back on it. Maybe I should have did it different, but no, I say no. That's the way I was supposed to do it. That's meant to be.
I agree.
I'm not meant to be filthy rich, or you're meant to be a lawyer. Or
whatever it is. Whatever it is, like that's we all take these different things. I want to finish playing this. This is a great conversation. I really like the chat, and Eric, you being here, I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. I just want to thank you. But End of the Line had something interesting. He says, I used to speed read, or at least that's what I thought it was doing with a book, but I learned to just take in the page. The words were absorbed by my brain. I think that's called photogenic memory, right? Isn't that what that's called?
Yeah, I think so.
Eric? I'm pretty sure that's what's called a photogenic memory. End of the line. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Tamara. Yes, it is helpful for that. I agree. And that's kind of what I want over here. So, all right. So here we go. We got some more. There we go.
It's unthinkable that love could come from me. And it was 10,000 times more powerful than any love that I felt before. I mean, in fact, I never felt that love.
You know what this sounds like?
Because it was unconditional love. Now
The
I have a
Grinch.
name for it.
The what?
The Grinch.
Oh,
Wh-
oh, yeah.
When his heart gets bigger.
Yeah, oh yeah, his heart got bigger and bigger. Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, don't be sorry. That's why you're here for the conversation. No, never be sorry.
It was love, period. Yes, it was coming from me, but it was love. And it was light, it was a white light scintillating. It was, like sparkles, and it was coming out.
I just have to pause this for 1 minute and just imagine this, right? This man, imagine the courage, and actually, to me, this is a testament to how true it is. This man was a physicist, like in the typical world of physicists, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't believe in weird shit like this, okay? And then this happens to him. He wasn't feeling happy, and then he has this weird experience, and now here he is telling the world. Like, that takes balls.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, honestly, it takes balls to be in any profession and come out and start talking about the secrets or go, have an antithesis to it.
I just wonder if he was if he expressed love a lot, like to the people he knew, like just
maybe he didn't, and that's the thing. But this is what's so cool about this guy. We're gonna listen some more, but what he really starts to get into here is esoteric knowledge, which he basically describes giving birth to a new being. Okay, what he's about to describe here, Eric. And the reason I understood it and I know this is because I've studied some esoteric books and stuff with other people. Like, I'm not like some super evolved. No, I'm not trying to say that at all. Okay, but I have read books and I've done book clubs with other people with some esoteric knowledge. And one of the things that some people believe is that what we're meant to do when we get married is in matrimony is to have it's kind of like it's not like sex magic, but some people call it that, but that gives it a bad connotation. But it's actually more like you know who practices it is Sting, him and his wife. That's why they're so happy all the time. You practice this like tantric sex and you delay orgasm and somehow you create this perfect being together. And that's the whole point of life. This is according to some ancient esoteric wisdom. But what he's about to say right here actually goes a little against it because he talks about creating it on your own. And that made me happy because I think you should be able to create the life on your own because there are people who won't have a partner. Either they're homosexual or they're transsexual or and he's not talking about an actual birth, but he's talking about the physical union of male, female. The esoteric religion talks about this guy. I don't know if I'm making sense with this because it's a little bit weird anyway, but does any of that make sense?
Yeah, a little. I just want to see his example. Like, I want to see what he.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him talk now.
Yeah, no, like I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then he explodes and is everywhere. But it's everywhere. But my consciousness is there too. So not only my consciousness is within me, but it's also outside of me. And all of a sudden, I realize I am that. So I am the observer and the observed simultaneously, but I retain my point of view. I retain my identity. I was still the same kid of 5 years old or 3 years old kid that I was then, and that I am now. And so that identity, the only thing of me that remained was that point of view. And then I realized, oh my God, this stuff is the stuff of which everything is made. Everything comes from this stuff. And my body was hot, it was vibrating, like the cells of my body were resonating with this thing. Of course, the emotion, the feelings was love, joy, and peace. Because this stuff felt like, that's me. I'm at home. This is me. So I'm finally home.
This literally gives me a lump in my throat when I listen to this guy, because I can feel how elated he must have felt at that time and what he's trying to convince. Like it makes me emotional what this guy is doing and saying, I'm going to let it continue. And then I got to let the dogs in. I have so much more stuff I want to talk to you guys about. I love it that you guys are here for this kind of talk, because I got a lot of weird stuff that I can talk about and go on about. So let me just finish this a little bit. Thanks, Eric, for being here too.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
This is home.
Thanks to the chat for being here.
But so it was all mixed up. So you cannot separate this stuff. Love, joy, and peace, and then the mind was aligned, saying this is the stuff of everything is made. So I'm everything, but also the observer of everything. So I'm a point of view of one, with which one knows itself. And now is the centerpiece of this new theory of consciousness that we may talk later about.
Yeah, beautiful.
I was a physicalist. I thought, basically, materialist, because I studied physics, everybody knows the consciousness comes from matter, perhaps. We don't know how, but has to come from matter. Well,
Now I'm going to let him talk, but I want you, this guy makes me love him, and I'm going to tell you why. And it made me understand something too. And this might help any of you in the chat who never were interested in physics love him more too. I realized something. I never liked physics. I did Calc 1 and Calc 2. I loved math. I never liked physics because I felt like it was too complicated. I'm just going to be honest. Like I couldn't understand it. It was too complicated. So I felt really dumb, right? And so I didn't have to take physics because I didn't go to med school. I went to PA school. If I went to med school, I probably would have taken physics. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this man made me feel so much better, because what he's saying is the way that they're teaching physics, they're holding people back from what's real. It's like they don't want people to understand. They don't want people to understand who we really are, what we're really capable of. And so they're holding on to this old physics. And that's why physics was so hard to fucking learn, because it's a lie. They're not, I'm not saying all of it's a lie. I'm saying the way that they're teaching it is a lie. I think physics and philosophy have a lot more to do with each other than physics and math, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
else can you come?
Sorry.
No, I said, no, that makes sense.
Come from. So, I mean, that was the mindset that I was. So all of a sudden, how can, no, this is before matter somehow, so this must be the beginning of it. So, that changed it. And that started me in a completely different, I went orthogonal in terms of my personal development and thinking while I was running synaptics. So that was fine. But I spent from that point on 30 to 40% of my time trying to understand what happened and studying, doing meditation, figuring, anything that I could understand to understand what happened.
He's a scientist,
But
right? He wants to know what happened.
Actually, is the end is now I can explain with this new theory of consciousness, I can explain exactly what happened and exactly why that is correct. Every single one of us is a field that is both the observer, the observed, and the actor.
Oh my gosh.
This is the quickest way to clear out
so
stuff poop.
offended.
The number one food for regular BMs, huh?
I'm so
Okay,
sorry,
let's see.
Fastest way to.
Every one of us is.
Wait, Eric, sorry, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
That was so offensive. Sorry. What the fuck just happened? Did you hear that? Like the ad? Why do they have to show ads like that? Like it's so
I don't know.
like nobody wants to hear it. End the line. See, he knows what I'm talking. I could create electricity with my soul partner. Yeah, there are like a lot of these kind of esoteric. I don't know if you do the esoteric Kama Sutra, whatever it is, but I know that there's some stuff you can get into. I don't know why I don't know what bot it is. I'm sorry. It's probably the stupid bot that I definitely removed and has come back. It's stalking the page. I don't know. Let's see. Somebody wrote here about Plato, know thyself. They say that knowing yourself is the most important job that you have on this earth, and that most people definitely don't. They know a lot more about, say, baseball statistics or politics or whatever than they do about their actual damn self.
That's the thing. And you can't lie to yourself either.
You can't. That's why people don't like to examine themselves. It's
They
really
lie to
hard.
themselves when they examine themselves.
It's hard to do it. I know, because I've been doing it now for, I don't know, 7, 8 years. So it's not an easy thing, but I think it's important. Let me find it.
Is a field, and it doesn't exist in, this field does not exist in space and time. Space-time exists within these fields that we are, is us. So this changes the paradigm, right? But we need a change of paradigm, because otherwise, if we are machines, like scientism is telling us, we are going to be taken over by the machines, the artificial intelligence that people will control, powerful people will control, and through those machines, they can control us if we don't change our mind of who we are.
It will become a sort of self-fulfilling
Will
prophecy.
become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we have not done the personal work to understand who we are.
Yeah.
And we are not machines. The body is a machine, but it's a machine that is infinitely more complex than the computers, because it is a quantum and classical machine. It's not a machine like a computer.
Isn't that awesome the way he explains that?
Yeah, yeah.
He's about to explain some more about why AI is never going to be as good as a human. And one thing I can tell you, and I learned this from Archaics, and he's going to say it here. So one thing I learned, there's one thing about humans that's very unique and much different than any AI could ever do. Do you know what it is? Just, there's a couple things, but this is one. Does anybody have any ideas? I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. I didn't know the answer to this. I just think it's a good way to help you remember. When I ask you a question and you have to think, I always find that I remember the answer better later. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm totally anti-AI.
Right. So what do you think about, is there something that humans have that AI will never have?
Personality.
That's true. That's a good point. The one thing he says is creativity. The one thing about humans are, or just in general, every person, your creativity is very unique. It's very unique to you, you know. And computers can never be creative. So,
And like how we analyze people, if they take people away, what are we going to do? Like, just in general, like.
yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at. Whenever I sound distracted, it's because I'm looking at the chat. That's all.
It's all good.
Say it says, "Do you think we're going where we have been before?" I feel like, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's what happens here. But they each. I feel like collectively, yes. The answer to that is yes. As a collective, yes.
You know what? I don't think we got the money to afford it. Like generally, people like that's expensive. Like so, I think it's
What do
just
you mean afford?
like AI. What they're going to be doing with AI and getting them, all the bots to do your stuff. Or you know what I mean? I just think it's too expensive. I don't think it's gonna. They're going to be able to develop it without the money. I don't think we have enough money to do that.
Right. I
That's just my
mean,
thoughts.
yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and honestly, I can't say anything to suggest otherwise, other than I do feel like it's going to proliferate, and it's already beyond saving at this point, and it's going to our whole, in my opinion, if I'm being honest and not trying to sugarcoat things, in my opinion, like within the next decade, like things are going to be becoming a lot different for a lot of people.
Yeah,
And it's everything to do with AI.
I think the middle class funds the world in a big picture, and yeah, the middle class ain't gonna be able to afford that. They can't afford food now.
Right, but here's the red pill on it then, right? And it's fucked up. But I'm just gonna say it. Have you ever seen? I wanted to talk. Let me just put this up here so
do
I
it.
remember what we're talking about, because I am very much into Myers-Briggs. I own the book. Every person I know or love has been diagnosed, has been given one of these 4 letters, because I can figure out your personality over time once I know you. Sometimes even if I don't know you, I can figure out your personality based on like public shit. Regardless, yeah, I definitely want to talk about that. But I want to talk about this first, Eric.
Okay.
The middle class, and I agree with you on a lot of that. But do you remember something called the Deagle report?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
All right. So the Deagle report came out during like Trump's first administration. It was one of those things that you could find on like QAnon boards and shit like that, which by the way,
Okay.
like a lot of QAnon shit was just bullshit and agitprop and stuff, but some of that shit was real. Some of it did happen. There were some real predictions on QAnon. Okay. So like it wasn't complete bullshit. I mean, the people that believe JFK Jr. was at Trump rally and he was coming back and they were going to run, that's a little bit, those people lost their fucking minds. Okay.
Yeah.
They fell full on into the agitprop campaign, whatever. But I do think there were some things in there that were true. And so, holy shit, why did I bring this up? Where did we start with this, Eric?
What did I say? Oh, I said middle class funds the
Oh,
world.
that's it. So Deagle report. Thank you. Deagle report. Deagle report. Deagle, they don't have it up anymore, Eric, because when they had it up, it said something that the Q people and a lot of other people saw and made them very upset. Basically, Deagle was a company who was putting out statistics for the world regarding population, finances, gross national product, all these other things. Okay. And you could look and they could tell you what's going to happen in 10 years and what's going to happen in a few years, whatever. So Deagle had this report out for the United States that, you know what? I'm going to find it because I bet you I still have the freaking snapshot in my freaking phone, because this thing terrified people and it got people so upset that Deagle actually made a post about where they got the information from. But essentially, what it tells us is the population of the country is going to be falling pretty dramatically over the next couple of years. If I can find this thing, damn it. Oh, here it is. Fine, I think I might find it. Hold on. I'm looking for it. Okay, here we go. All right. All right. So this was their prediction. And then I'm going to read their response that they had up before they took it down. This was real. Okay. This was like a real prediction that they had up that nobody paid attention to until one person saw it and spread it online and people started freaking out. And then they had to make a response to it, which I'll read to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. Gross domestic product. It would go from, hold on. Let me just find this. I just want to make sure I'm reading the right thing here. Sorry. Population. I don't know if we can find it. You hear my dogs in the background. They're so cute. They're fighting. They're adorable. Oh, here. Maybe this is it. I'm not trying to leave people hanging. Oh, here it is. Forecast 2025. So currently in 2015, they had, or 2016, a population of the United States was 324 million. Okay.
Yep.
Deagle forecasted back in 2017. Okay. That's when they first put this out, that this year, in the year 2025, the population of the United States would be, go down to 5.4 million.
From 324 million to 5.4 million.
Yes. Okay. Now they had this out on their website. They have a bunch of other things too, like that I can't find right now, but if I find it, I'll put it in my community post, which by the way, anybody can make a post in the community post now. And I will put links for this video, but they had other things in there, like our gross domestic product, purchase power, military budget, density. They had all these things in there. Okay. Like it's not just like some bullshit number. So a lot of people were freaking out. So here is the response. Okay. The key element to understand the process that the USA will enter in the upcoming decade is migration. In the past, especially in the 20th century, the key factor that allowed the USA to rise to its colossus status was immigration, with the benefits of a demographic expansion supporting the credit expansion and the brain drain from the rest of the world benefiting states. The collapse of the Western financial system will wipe out the standard of living of its population while ending Ponzi schemes such as the stock exchange and pension funds. The population will be hit so badly by a full array of bubbles and Ponzi schemes that the migration engine will start to work in reverse, accelerating itself due to ripple effects, leading the demise of the United States. This unseen situation for the states will develop itself in a cascade pattern with unprecedented and devastating effects for the economy. Jobs offshoring. I could go on and on. It basically, they spell out in very detailed and specific language what's going to happen and why they made that prediction. And at the very end, and this was written, by the way, Sunday, October 26, 2014. Okay, I'll put this in my community post for anybody that wants to read it. But at the very end, they say, the last two paragraphs. Over the past 2,000 years, we have witnessed the Western civilization built around the Mediterranean Sea shifting to Northern Europe, and then by the mid-20th century, shifting to an Atlantic axis to finally get centered into the States in the past 30 years. The next move will see the civilization being centered in Asia with Russia and China on top. Historically, a change in the economic paradigm has resulted in a death toll that is rarely highlighted by mainstream historians. I believe that. When the transition from rural areas to large cities happened in Europe, many people, unable to accept the new paradigm, killed themselves. They killed themselves by a psychological factor. This is not mainstream, but it's true. A new crisis joins old, well-known patterns with new ones. Sorry to disappoint many of you with our forecast. It is getting worse and worse every year. Since the beginning of the pre-crisis in 2007, it is already said that this website is nonprofit. They're talking about their own website, built on spare time, and we provide our information and services as is without further explanations and or guarantees. We are not linked to any government in any way, shape, or form. We are not a death or satanic cult or arms dealer or some bullshit that's floating around the internet on this topic. Take into account that the forecast is nothing more than a model. Whether flawed or correct, it is not God's word or a magic device that allows to foresee the future. So they're letting you know this is based on their research, and they're a group of people that are academia, military, former intelligence, suppliers, like these. It's not just like a random group. Like this is a real group that has real concerns, and they're trying to make real predictions for people to look at. And so that was their explanation when people were getting upset about the predicted forecast for a U.S. population back in 2017. Now we're in the year 2025 when they say this is going to happen. Do I believe that'll happen to that degree? I have no idea. I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just
What's the
saying.
population not this year?
That's a good point. I don't know. I don't know if I know Donald Trump is talking about doing a census.
I'm saying roughly. I wonder, like,
I don't know. I'm going to tell you that it's the kind of thing that I don't trust anymore. I know that everywhere, all over the world, the population is in decline and birth rates are in decline. That's just all over the world. I'm not making that up. That's
I'd just like to see what, I'll check it out later, what the percentage is. Like,
yeah. If it's
like
different,
even if it is fudged, it's still like the percentage should be the same, even if it is fudged. You know?
yeah,
What I mean?
exactly. No, I understand what you're saying. And you can do that with COVID. You can even, I'm going to just, here's a red pill. Polio was just like COVID, guys. Sorry, just had to say it. Polio was just like COVID, and the polio vaccine is just as much bullshit as the COVID vaccine. Sorry, I just had to say it. All vaccines are bullshit, guys, but you don't have to believe me right now. I'll do a whole video explaining what I'm talking about at some point. But anyway, I'm not saying polio didn't exist. I'm just saying it's just like saying COVID didn't exist. It existed, but what they made it into and about is not the same thing. Is what I'm trying to say. So it was just like COVID. It's crazy. If you go back and you look at the history of it, same thing. You know how they said, oh, when the polio vaccine came out, then all the polio went down, right?
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's the same thing they did during COVID. The cases were already going down when the COVID vaccine came out. And the same thing was happening in polio too. Same thing has been happening since the beginning of fucking time with these people. You know?
Well, that's the plan. You get immune to it too. Once you get it, like it's going to go down.
Right. And here's the thing. You also get immune to it because other people are immune to it. Like we're not supposed to not have viruses. Like some of these viruses help boost our immunity against other worse viruses and worse illnesses. And that's
like wearing a mask was worse. It made it spread.
100%. I lost my mind during COVID. Honest to God. I wrote so many letters and I really did. It was hard. And I'm not trying to be like, oh, woe is me. I'm just saying, like, it really pissed me. But you know what is a good thing, though? It needed to happen. I'm not the only one it happened to. A lot of people in medicine said I'm done with that, you know, after that. So
there's a lot of people that believe what was fed to us.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people do. But those are the people that don't have the higher ability to perceive that we were talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I question everything.
He says here, oh, we definitely need germs. Germs are important. A lot of people have allergies because they're not exposed to enough germs and shit. But this is interesting. In Australia, their population is going so fast. They have hundreds of homeless for the first time in history. So I'm going to ask you a question, end of the line. Do you know a question I'm going to ask him, Eric? And then I got to go in because I've been on here and ignoring the pups and I could go on for all night.
What does it say? I can't.
So end of the line is saying in Australia, our population is escalating so fast. We have hundreds homeless for the first time in our history.
How would I answer that?
Or do you have anything to say about it? Like I have something to say about it. Do you have anything to say about it? Is what I'm asking you. Sorry, not trying to put you on the spot.
No. I'm saying.
Never mind. He already answered it here. Sorry, Eric.
Okay, it's all right. I had to think.
Yeah, it's okay. And I'm genuinely not trying to give you a hard time.
No, it's all good.
It says they're coming from, it's immigration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So the only other thing I would have said was my first thought, I'll be honest with you, my first thought wasn't even immigration, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, it's immigration. When he said that, it verified it. My first thought was, is that what's happening or is that what they're telling you is happening? Because like in America, our homeless population is definitely increasing, but we know it's because the poverty level is increasing, not because the population is increasing, right? But I could see a world in which they would tell people, oh, there's more homeless because the population is increasing. Like more people are having babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's not what they're saying. It's because of the immigration.
The younger generation is lazy too.
Oh, it's incredible what they don't know. It's not, I can't blame them though, Eric. I'm going to tell you right now. I cannot blame them. And here's why. Because they have parents, Eric.
Yeah.
They have fucking parents. That's why I can't blame them. I mean, yeah, when they become adults, 18, 19.
The parents are making ends meet. That's like,
look, it's tough. I'm not casting stones. It's tough. But I wanted to say I'm going to say one last thing, and then I'm going to leave you guys. I do want to talk about Myers-Briggs. Well, we can do something on that. I'd love to do that. There's a lot of other things in here you guys brought up that I want to talk about, but I do need to go. But I just want to say one other thing here. Oh, I know. Look at 18-year-olds today and look at people who say they were 18 like 50 years ago in the movies. Like what the fuck? They're just like so different. They look so much older and different.
They do.
You know what I
It's
mean?
really,
Life was harder back then,
well,
maybe.
it's a culture change. It's a lot to it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Honestly, I think most people in America, even ones that are like living on poverty level, most of them are still living like royalty compared to the rest of the world.
and our parents even think us Gen X's have it easy.
What's that?
Our parents even think us Gen X's have it easy compared to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Well, my
Right.
parents are they feel differently, but then they're a lot closer to age to me. You know what I mean? Like they had me when they were really young. So they were 18. So like they're not much older than me, which
I
is
hear you.
super weird, but I love it.
Yeah, that's. I hear what you're saying.
No, I mean it's only weird because like generationally speaking, people don't have kids. Now people have kids at younger and younger age, but at that time when my mom had me at 18, I mean women were doing that, I guess. There probably are a lot of Gen Xers that have young mothers like that. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of friends that have mothers that
My
have.
sister just had a kid at 38.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. I mean, people have, different ages and stuff. Hey guys, all right, I get it. You're bored now. All right, I got to go because they're starting to eat my pillows, and I'm not happy about that. I can't
Thank you,
blame them.
chat.
They've been good. Yeah, thanks
Thanks for
everybody.
having me post. All right.
Yeah,
Have a good
thank
night.
you. All right, thanks guys. We'll catch up
Good
soon.
night.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.